is all about love, navigating life with you, building in happiness, sharing those dreams for two. Heart to heart, things that need to be. You get me, I get you. Being as one, and it's just us two. Sharing special moment in the light we shine, and I'm glad you're mine. I have an idea. Let's sit back and listen to Dr. Gia.
Hello. I'm in the studio waiting for you. Hold on one second. Welcome, GCPR family. Huh?
I guess it must be 9 o'clock y'all time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Oh,
Right. I'm so sorry.
I'm still not ready. Okay, let me grab my little shirt right quick. Okay.
They can hear you on the air, Steve.
Oh my God. Sorry, y'all. Okay.
All right.
So, okay, I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click on it right now.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll see you in the studio. Bye. So, welcome, GCPR family. Welcome to Heart. I am your host, Pastor Gia. This has definitely been a journey. We are welcome, Heart podcast family, and our radio listening audience from GCPR. We are live at the studio here. I'm waiting for my guest, Steve West. I've had a little trouble with setting up the studio today. I will be very transparent. It has been very difficult. The topic of tonight's episode is, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about our Facebook family. And it will not open. Facebook has been very difficult. I'm not sure why, but we're here. So, the topic of tonight's episode is Love American Style. We are going to take a look at the American family and the modern American family and its struggles, the modern American couple, if you will. Because this show, as you know, is all about coupling, and so we're going to take a little look at that. The American family, particularly the American couple, has struggled repeatedly, over the decades with divorce and with just getting along in general. And it has been difficult. It has been difficult for the family, for the couples to sustain. The divorce is high. It's at an all-time high. Couples are just not staying together. And Steve and I are going to take a look at why and what could be some possible remedies to that. What could be some of the causes? What could be some of the remedies? And it is difficult to be a couple in America. It is. Couples are not getting along. We don't know. Yeah, and it's in record numbers. Divorce is at an all-time high. Everybody's kind of, in it to win it, if you will, out for themselves. And it's been a fight. It just has. And Pastor Gia and other pastors and therapists have all been kind of talking about it a lot. And it is a situation where if we don't come up with a solution, marriage just won't be going on anymore. Even young people, when you talk to them and you poll them and you ask them how they feel about getting married, they get upset. I don't want to do that. Marriage seems hard. I don't know why we can't get along. And it is a good question. Why can't we get along? Why is there an issue with couples not being able to sustain one another? You know, how is it that we grow apart instead of together? These are all things that we need to talk about. We need to have an understanding as to why it's not happening. You know, we get together, we marry, and, you know, we have children, and these children are in the middle of all this. And then over the years, as time goes on, as the decades go on, instead of growing together, we grow apart. We develop our own interest, or we take each other for granted. There are many reasons why couples are not able to get along. But one of the main reasons I think it's happening is because, you know, we take each other for granted. We hold grudges. We don't forgive one another. We don't see the reason to. We don't feel like we have to forgive. We don't feel like we have to have an understanding of each other. But we do. It is necessary. And when we don't have an understanding of each other, we lose focus. We lose sight of what really matters. You know, as a pastor, I'm always quoting when I deal with couples, Ephesians 4:32, which says, "Be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Christ, you know, our Savior, has forgiven you." So that is a real thing. That is um, a real scripture, and it is a purposeful scripture, because I think that when we think about how often we have disagreements, how often we hold things against each other. And Pastor G is no different. I'm the same way. In a relationship, I can be a little, remember you said this and this and this. You know, it's just something that we do, and it's not good. I don't care how trained you are. When you deal head to head with that relationship, there's going to be hurt feelings. There's going to be anger. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to go on, and you're not going to understand. And, you know, you might. And so the inclination is to hold things against each other. A lot of times we don't forgive. Pastor G is, I'm waiting for Steve to come into the studio, but I'm jonesing because I really need my coffee. I'm like, all right, hurry up, Steve. I want to break and get my coffee. So I think that a lot of times the holding grudge situation is a real thing. And I think that we have to examine the fact that we're not the most forgiving people. You know, society says, you know, say how you feel, speak your truth. And who cares how the other person takes it? You really should care, though, how the other person takes it, how the other person's feeling. That is a real thing. People are just not gonna let you say what you want and be okay with it. You have to be kind and considerate in the way we say things. You know, your wife burns dinner, you know, or he burns dinner, you know, somebody's burning dinner. You come home, you're hungry, you're irritated, you're mad that dinner's burned. Oh my God, where did you learn to cook? Why can't you know, sometimes you need to say things kinder. You know, take him out to dinner, take her out to dinner. You don't think she feels bad that dinner's burned or that the steak's messed up? You know, it's not easy being considerate of another person's feelings. And I think that is where we fall short as couples. You know, I think that we don't consider how someone else is feeling. And we don't always know how to express that, you know. You know, it's kind of like, who cares how this person feels? All that matters is my feelings. What about my feelings? What about who I am or what I want? and that you should care about another person's needs, first off. People are different. Your spouse, your partner is different, and they feel differently. They're probably polar opposites of you, or they're very similar, but they have an understanding in different ways. So you've got to be able to pull from that and to let your partner know, okay, you know what? That's why safe zones are so important. Your partner may say something you don't like, but he's going to express it in a way that when you create that safe space, your ego has to be tough enough to listen and to take it. Maybe you don't like what the person's expressing. Maybe you don't like how they're expressing it. But that safe zone should never be violated. That should be like a cardinal rule of relationships. We do not violate the safe zone. That is a space that must never, ever be violated, like ever. When we say something in that safe zone, it stays in that safe zone. We don't go repeating it to your friends. You don't hold it, squirrel it away for later to use against them. A safe zone is what it's supposed to be. It's a safe zone. So when you talk in a safe zone, if that area is violated, that's going to cause some hard feelings. It really is. Oh, so Pastor Gia has this look right now because I have to get up very early. We're going to be filming a Tubi series called The Hookup. And I play Dr. Gia Clinton. And I am going to be dealing with a few patients. It's going to air on next season. I am very excited about that. Steve and I were going to talk a little bit about it when he gets here. So I think that, and it's with Empire Productions, and J.T. Wilkinson is the producer and director. So we're going to be with him early in the morning. January McCuff, my sister, my baby sister, she's going to be in it also. She plays my receptionist. So we're really excited. So I've been in like face creams and all that stuff all day. So it's a little sidebar. Just wanted to tell you guys what's going on. It's like my first Tubi thing. And so I'm very excited. And I, would like to, give a shout out to Joe Houston for helping us find locations and for really making this location possible. So I'm really grateful. Thank you, Joe. So, okay, so getting back to the relationship issue. Many times we have these issues because we, over the years, become very unforgiving in a relationship. It is very important that no matter what the situation is, you're able to take a step back. So if you can't say anything kind, my grandmother says, I'm quoting her because I dreamt of her last night. It was really touching. But she would always say to me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And I know it's a very old saying, it's a very Southern saying, but it is very true in the world we're living in. If you can't reach for a nice word or a kind word, zip it. Say nothing at all. Because in speaking and saying unkind words, we are confirming to this person, not only that we're not on their side, but we're not speaking affirmations of love, are we? We're taking digs and shots. And all right, let me just check and see where Steve is. Taking digs and we're taking shots, and we're not exactly being what we're supposed to be. Oh, he says he's backstage. Where? Where? All right, let me see if we can bring him in here. He says he's backstage. Let's add him. I don't have him. So I will copy the message. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to bring my guests in. If you noticed, I've had in the past some difficulties with guests and guest appearances and all that. I'm not sure why. but we are trying to work out the kinks in this. All right, there. So we're working on it, guys. We're working on it. But you know, it's very important that we remember that relationships encompass two people. All right, so I sent it to him. I don't know how he is backstage, but and so knowing that a relationship encompasses two people, we understand I'm sending Mr. West a link. I sent you a link. Knowing that it encompasses two people, and listen to Pastor Gia very carefully. When you hurt your partner, and in the modern couples in America, we're taught that, you know, you speak your truth. There's nothing wrong with speaking your truth, but I think that a truth should be spoken in love. I think that the way we say things, the inflection in your voice, the look on your face when you say things really, really matters. It like really matters. And so we don't want to become monsters, especially when it comes to like your partner. That is the person that you trust the most. That is the person that you love. That is the person that you are trying to do life with. And the worst thing you can do is hurt them. Okay, I'm not sure why he's not here. Click. All right, still trying to get him in the audience. I mean, in the studio. So when you hurt someone, our words are powerful. Our words are life, or our words are destruction. There's never in between. It's either life. You're either filling someone or you're destroying someone with your words. Oh, he's here! Yay! Hey, Steve! All right, we got you.
So can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can
Okay,
hear
good.
you.
Okay, yeah, and I can hear you.
All right,
So,
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen, GCP family audience, this is Mr. Steve West. He is a behavioral. Please tell us what you do, Steve.
I pay attention to detail. That's pretty much what it is. And so I study people and behaviors and
Ontological architect.
yes, just
I said it right.
Yeah, that's a real deep. Yeah, I stole it from somebody on LinkedIn. I said, that's actually what I do. But yeah, it's basically just the study of how things work and how people behave and why they do what they do and how machines work and how systems work. Just anything that if you pay attention to patterns and things like that, that's pretty much what it is.
Interesting that you would talk about paying attention to patterns because I was just talking to the audience. The title is "Love American Style," and we are talking about relationships with regard to the modern couple and how they entreat one another. I don't have to tell you about the staggering statistics of the divorce rate. It is at an all-time high. It does make you wonder if relationships are even sustainable.
Yeah, that's real. Excuse me. I'm just moving this camera a little bit. But yeah, that's very true because in a lot of ways, it's not very positive, the outlook. And it is getting worse because we are actually in like the .com era, or you can say like the microwave era, like the Uber Eats era. So nobody's looking for like long-term anything, like not
Right.
TV, not cars. We can get an Uber, we can get a car, we can get a ride anywhere, we can get some food anytime we want.
Oh, I like that
So
sound. That's good. That's good. Where you are right there.
so basically, it's kind of rough, really for relationships. It's kind of spilled over to everything.
Agreed. Because now relationships are more microwavable, as you're saying, that
Hmm.
you can instantly replace a woman. And it's like heating up a bowl of ramen noodles.
That is so true.
Right,
It's
you
true.
know.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
next week it'll be somebody else, or in the 3 days. So it seems like what is dwindling is the love story. What is
yes.
dwindling is the couple that held hands. And I remember having this conversation with my grandson. He's got his first little sweetheart, and you know his mom and I have a difference of opinion. I'm telling him that make love last, and you meet that sweetheart and you go to college and all these different things. And and I know it's old fashioned, but it is possible to meet the love of your life
Mhm.
instantly, and you
Yes,
just grow old together, you grow up together, you do this, you're
yes.
on the swings one day, and then all of a sudden you're in your 50s and your grandparents. And
Hmm.
I think that the modern couple teaches their children that love doesn't last. Get yours first.
Yes,
Get your education. Do this. Do that. Don't worry about
yes.
love, because it's probably not gonna. You're probably not gonna make it anyway, and you'll
Hmm.
don't get married. I don't. I teach him that love is possible, and he's got this sweet little angel, and I really love her. But his mother teaches, oh, don't worry about that. So your oats, boy, this kind of thing. You better not sow your oats out here, all these diseases and
Mm,
things. What are you, crazy?
mm, mm,
No, they got flesh
mm.
eating viruses and stuff.
Boy, you got to be careful with a capital C
What?
nowadays. I
Condoms don't
mean,
even help
serious.
anymore, from what I'm under.
Oh my goodness. And you sure are right. I know you can't say it because you're a pastor, but I can say it. Yes. People out there doing the hoochie coochie and God knows what else. And I mean,
Right,
things are
and
happening,
getting the heebie-jeebies. So
man.
they got some diseases out here that makes VD look like
Oh man.
look
And
like chicken pox. I mean,
I mean, I remember when I was younger, which I'm making myself sound, I'm dating myself now, but I tell you what, I remember when it used to be you just go get a shot, you had a little flaming, urine come out.
what?
Excuse my language,
Oh
but
my
yeah, but
god!
you get a
You go
shot.
ahead and talk about it.
Nowadays,
I'm
you
gonna leave
might
y'all
come
alone with
home,
Steve for like 5 minutes. Well, no,
you
I'm sorry, 5 seconds.
yeah,
I'm gonna go grab my coffee.
but you mess
Keep on
around and come
talking.
home, you mess around and come home with something nowadays that you will never have another chance at certain things. So I think that the world has really changed, honestly speaking, as far as love, relationships, dating, getting married, being on in love, the whole idea of going together, courting. It's just some of those things are a thing of the past. It has evolved beyond certain things now, so I think nowadays you got to basically teach people to survive and take care of themselves so they can be a good partner to somebody. But it is totally different now. It's not like it used to be, where it was love and courting and dating and things of that nature, where you meet somebody, you fall in love with them for a long period of time. Now you can get on the internet and meet somebody in 5 minutes. You can get on the internet and you can meet somebody in 30 minutes. You can meet somebody around the corner from you. You can meet somebody 3,000 or 4,000 miles away, So it really makes for a different set of circumstances as far as relationship and love is concerned, And I might add, um, I joked around with somebody when I was talking about no commitments, and people don't want cable TV. People don't want um, people don't want nothing sustainable nowadays.
No,
People want to have freedom. Like this is the true age of the free spirit. You know,
right.
um, Nobody wants really physical cable. I was telling somebody, everybody want Netflix, they want Hulu, they want subscriptions, and they want
You
cheap
want the freedom to
subscriptions.
roam and
They
stream.
want, yeah. If they say, hey, I don't want this cable no more, I'm just gonna drop it tomorrow. There's no
Hmm.
repercussions. Like it used to be like, oh man, you gotta have Dish, you gotta have whoever.
Hmm.
Now it's like, nope, I'm gonna pay $11 And I'm going to have all, and then not to mention, for the sake of the argument, not to mention the fire sticks that's out here, but that's a whole other conversation. You can get a
Fire
whole,
sticks are outdated now. They got all
oh
this
my
other
God,
stuff going
they
on.
got all other hard drives. So yeah, it is really tough nowadays, seriously. As far as the old fashioned love that we used to find. And I think it kind of like, I heard Dr. Dre talk about it one time. He's saying how it was really something when you was waiting on somebody's whole album to come out, and now people just drop one song, drop another song. There's no mystery behind anything. It's just like boom, right there. So yeah, I agree with you, Pastor. It is
And
really
it's
tough, man. But to your grandson and your hopefully future granddaughter's
love
defense,
that little girl. She's just
um,
such a sweetheart.
I was
Kyrie is
telling
her name.
her name is Kyrie. Yeah, I was telling somebody. I said nowadays it's like somebody pulling up to the gas station with a horse and asking the gas station attendant if they have any oats or alfalfa sprouts for your horse. And they'll look at you and be like, "What are you talking about?"
But
That's how far things have changed.
what hope do we have in this age? Because we're from a different decade. We're Xers. So Generation X is not we're just not about that life like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
still hold on to the concept of there could be the one out there. And for those of you that are in relationships, it is about compromise. It is
Yes.
about what sustains a relationship is love
Yes.
and respect. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. Okay, so hypothetically, we're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're two single people. We've just gotten this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be romanced. I care about love, and I want to make sure you love me deeply and passionately. You
Mm-hmm.
care about respect. You want to make sure I look up to you, I admire you, I respect you.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you don't care about love, but
Mm-hmm.
that is love to you.
It
Being
is. It is.
respected. Right.
Yes.
So women get it twisted because they think men want to be romanced. They think men
No.
want the same kind of stuff we want. They don't
Right.
understand that oh God, that coffee smells good. They don't understand that. I'm a fiend. You know
Yeah.
this.
The thing is that you are so coffee is very good for
It's
you.
my life.
Yeah. I tried this mushroom coffee my aunt had, Rushi or something like that. It was pretty good. But
Was it?
but yeah, coffee is so addicting. Oh man, I'm trying to like get off of it because I could be such a coffee snob where I love to go to like Starbucks.
Coffee
I see why people.
snob.
Man, I went to Chicago and I went to this roastery that was in Chicago on Michigan Avenue of like Starbucks. And oh my God, man, it changed my life. But
This is
this
it was better than Starbucks?
no. Well, yeah, it was Starbucks roastery where they actually
Roast.
roast the beans, and oh
Ooh.
man, I got to send you the pictures of it. It was
Smell
amazing.
of that
Oh
roasted hot
man, and I
coffee.
mean, it was a lot of people there that just wanted.
Ugh.
It's just coffee just has this taste. But
Hmm.
it is serious. On a serious note, it is really really scary because this is the end of an era. That's the
Yes.
scariest part about it.
Yes.
And see,
Okay, hold that
usually,
thought, Steve. I'm going to grab my coffee.
okay.
Mm. Lord Jesus. Such good stuff. Good vibration. I am back.
Yes.
Thank
Now I
you.
was getting
Thank
ready
you.
to
Thank
say
you.
that I'm a big history buff, and
Yes.
I noticed that when I read about history, I like to read about stories, just all different types of history, not just Black history. I like to read history and read like transitions and things like that. And I've noticed that right now we are living in the transitional phase.
Okay.
Like usually when you hear about Civil War or something like that, you say, "Oh man, the Civil War," and then this happened. But can you imagine living during the civil like we lived through 9/11? We watched the world
Yes.
go
That
from
was horrible.
pre 9/11 to post
Mhm.
9/11. Now with this relationship stuff, we're actually living in the crescent, the exact change, the transitional phase of it. So nobody knows the answer because who would know that you could get your food in like 15 minutes? Who would know that you can go get a massage or go get get your taxes done just like that. So everything is
Right.
real microwavable, and it makes it hard for things that like love they used to curate. So
Yeah,
it's a
that
scary time.
okay, so it's a difference between, like you're saying, microwaving coffee or
Yeah.
coffee being ground up and heated over
Yes.
time, which is the
Uh-huh.
best coffee
Which is really the best.
because that is sustainable coffee. You make a big pot of
Yes.
coffee, it can last you all day. You
Yeah.
make a little
Yeah.
Keurig cup, it's gone in an hour. Then you're
Yeah.
back trying to find another cup.
Yeah.
So when we treat relationships with such disrespect, because that's what it is, when love is treated with such disrespect, relationships are treated with disrespect. How are you going asking someone to be with you and it's temporarily? Can you sign a contract and agree to be with me as long as you look good?
hmm
Yes. I've
You
met some
know,
weirdos in my time.
a lot of times I have to say, and like I said, but we're gonna get dip into the behavioral ontological
Hmm.
thing now. See, a lot of times we don't really realize that we are in a controlled environment. And
Okay.
this is the scariest thing about
Hmm.
the United States of America and other places.
Right.
Meaning we are in a microwave society where we getting TV. My aunt Kathy, I always tell this story. My aunt Kathy was part of this church where it was a hellfire brimstone church, and her pastor used to tell her. For anybody that doesn't know, hellfire brimstone means the preacher didn't preach prosperity. The preacher taught
Hmm.
about going to hell and being right. But she used to always talk about how the TV was the devil, or how entertainment was the devil. And at the time when she was saying it, I was like, please be quiet because I'm just trying to eat this cereal. But later on, I said to myself when I was watching TV, I said, man, these commercials, the songs, the movies, everything is causing us to behave a certain way, right?
Yes.
So when you say what you're saying, yes, I agree with it, but a lot of it has to do with the environments that we're coming up in.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So your grandson is listening to these rappers and singers, and they're portraying a certain thing, and so he's going to kind of go towards that, And with the way the world is, with AI taking jobs and stuff like that, it can start making temporary things make more sense to certain people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Because
not
they're in a
saying
very temporary kind of
what.
generation.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly
Very
speaking,
different from
you could
us.
go into your job and they say we don't need you no more because the robot's doing it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You used
Well,
to be, you
that's
know,
what I'm going through in my profession. They're using AI technology to get rid of like paralegals and legal assistants. The only problem with that is that they're quoting laws that don't exist. People are getting disbarred. I'm very happy about that. No, just kidding. Where's that law found, sir? The judge is like,
right.
where's that law?
You're like,
I found it in it. That does not exist. You're about to be
yeah,
disbarred.
yeah.
Happens when you fire a good paralegal or
I
you
was
don't
in,
need them.
I was in my, because I was a mediator for a long time. I'm still a mediator. I just haven't been mediating for a while. But I remember we was in a class one time about AI, and they had people creating bots through ChatGPT, Claude, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Now, mediators are like a substitute for attorneys. We're not attorneys, but they will let us kind of like sit in and let somebody let us
Mhm.
arbitrate or mediate. But
Right.
I noticed, I said, you know what? They asked me in a meeting because they know I work on robots and stuff. I said,
Right.
the only
Right. Because you
thing,
are an engineer.
yes, I said, the only thing that the robot, they're trying to design this robot, but the robot won't know how to care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's not a person.
The
It's not
human
going to
element is
know.
going to be
It's
missing.
not
It
going to
won't,
know. Now, I'm not saying it
anomalies
won't.
that come up, it won't be able to understand.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that it won't because it'll figure it out. It'll give it. It'll try to make it as sentient as possible. But
Hmm.
the whole point I'm trying to make is you live in a very temporary world. And so when a man is thinking he's going to take care of his wife, or your grandson want to take care of his I mean, your
His
possibly
girlfriend.
future, yeah, his girlfriend,
He
it's
just got
kind of
his
tough.
first job. I'm so proud of him.
It's tough looking at that, and
Yeah.
you say to yourself, man, okay, I got this job, but now they're trying to replace everything with robots. And I mean, it makes it hard for you to just comfortably
Right.
say, I want to take care of you, baby. So it makes it tough.
Right.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot of other factors nowadays, where it makes it optional.
Okay. So, modern couple. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
just get together, you and I in a relationship. Um, we bring two different perspectives because we're different people.
Right, right,
Um,
right,
so we were talking about love versus respect.
right.
I had this discussion with someone earlier today.
That's real.
Yeah, it's real. So women think, "Oh, I just love you, Steve, and this is just so great, and we're just so happy, and just I just see," and she wants that from you. You know,
Yes.
she wants you to praise her, tell her how much you love her. What you want is to hear, "Gosh, I'm so proud of you. You are a freaking Superman.
You know what?
Who
We
is
feel
better
so
than
good.
you?"
We feel so, and I say this for me as a male, and I
Right.
am in the older. I'm a Gen. I'm up there, but I would say what I always pride myself on
Hmm.
is being a provider. Really, seriously.
Right.
I think any man wants to take care of his woman. I haven't
Exactly.
met any guy who was worth his salt
Oh, they're
that
out
didn't.
there. Don't
Yeah,
want to take care of
that
anybody.
that don't want. Yeah, but most of the
I
guys I
want
know,
her
if
to
they
take care
really,
of
if
him.
they, yeah, if they really like you, they want to take care of you. They want to help you in some kind of way,
Right.
And I noticed that with men, that's our thing. Like we're not probably going. But I noticed that a lot of women of today, they expect it for you to talk and laugh with them like you're a girl. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women do. A lot
Really?
of women, yeah, a lot of. I mean, that's what I'm agreeing with what you're saying. A lot of
Yeah.
women think that you expect, like, yeah, and they thinking like, oh, this is my friend. Yeah, I am your
Come on,
friend,
girlfriends.
but I'm not. But I ain't that kind of friend. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women do that, and I don't think they
Mhm.
mean no harm by it. But I think they kind of don't recognize this is a man, a
They don't have
male.
an understanding of men. Would you
But
say that the lack of understanding of the male species, especially the male species Africanus,
yes,
it's
yes.
because there are the interaction with males. There's no males in the home. So if there's no males in the home, you don't really know how to interact with. Let me just preface this by saying it's hard enough understanding men when you had a male in the home. I had a father,
Mm-hmm.
and a stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard growing up when you had a male and brothers.
That's right. That's right.
But it's really hard when you don't have that example of having a male, a strong real male role model in
Right.
your home, not
That's
in the
right.
family, in the
Right.
house. That
Yes.
dad that's gonna say, get upstairs, that dress is too short, where do you think you're going?
Yes.
Or
Oh
have
my
you
God.
lost your mind, young lady? You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or
you're
I
right.
expect you to be home by 10 o'clock. But daddy, it's Friday. I said, you want to make it 9:30? So, so you need that father presence. I can
Yes.
say that my dad was very strong as as a presence. You going to
Hmm.
all girls Catholic school, and you better bring some decent grades home. And you going to college, and that uniform is going to be past your knees. And guess what? Break my curfew, you're going to be on punishment for a month.
I remember those days. I mean, I
Yes.
remember those days. And I mean, I feel like that's really the problem. I think the attack is really on the nuclear family overall.
Yes. Yes, it
And
is.
I mean, I ain't even just talking about straight or gay or none of that. I'm just talking about they don't want two parents and children in the same house. Whether
No.
it's two women, two males, male, women, whatever. They don't want that nuclear family. You know what I'm
Nancy,
saying?
right?
They meaning people who want to do stuff like population control and all that, which is a whole nother conversation.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
usually women, I think a lot of things like prejudices and stuff like that
Hmm.
are all rooted in economics,
Hmm.
meaning women spend a lot of money. You got to understand, if you all were satisfied with just one pair of shoes, that would really ruin the economy. So I think it's a. I mean, I
Or
disagree.
one designer purse,
Or
or
one
no
designer
designer
purse,
purse.
or no designer purse. So I think a lot of times, a
It's
lot of
true.
what's going on, I don't think it's just, of course, just black people. I think just overall, I think somebody's sitting around saying, man, if everybody's gotten happy and they're satisfied with their lives,
Right.
it might not be a lot of people going shopping because they might feel like I don't really want to shop because I'm
No
happy already.
retail
I'm with
therapy.
somebody. Exactly. I don't really need to go out to dinner because I like cooking for my. So I think it's this hamster wheel that they whoever the. Have you ever
They
heard of Have
is
you ever heard of Edward Bernays?
Edwards. Say
Ed,
again.
Edward Bernays.
No. Who? What did he write?
Edward Bernays wrote the book on propaganda. He was
Oh,
also a social scientist, and he was also the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He,
ooh.
yeah, you should check him out.
Wow. Well, I checked out Freud.
He basically took the concept of people and learned how to sell to people by making people think their lives was horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like basically. So
Wow.
he was able to help people get elected. He was able to help. So Edward
Wow.
Bernays, you got to look him up. But the whole point of the matter is to make people unhappy, so
Uh-huh.
then they will have a need to escape from the life that they live. And I
Wow.
think that it's really, I don't think it's just all about being evil. I think
It
it's really
sounds
all
like the
about
devil. That's what
scattering.
it sounds like.
It's really all about scattering finances and scattering resources. And if everybody's in the same house, then that's one people that's buying one set of food. But if you got one person over here, one person over there, one person over here,
Right.
one person over there, you got a lot of people going and getting food, a lot of people going shopping, a lot of people going and doing other things. So all those things kind of affect a relationship. You can't really judge people if they're in a bad environment. A lot of this stuff got a lot to do with what's going on in our world.
But it's all about manipulation, isn't it? Because
Yes,
even, I'm going to be very transparent, even in the church world, I was a part of
Lord.
a mega church years ago before I became a minister or anything. I was
Hmm.
just Sister
Hmm.
Gia. So,
Hmm.
um,
Mother
and I
G,
was
like
on the, I was on the pastor support staff, and what I noticed is that they discouraged dating, they discouraged marriage. They wanted people to work for the church. It was a mega church. They had them like worker ants, like drones. And
hmm.
so people, if they got married, then there's so many they were families were harder to control,
Yes.
because within the family you got a husband and wife that are talking and they're thinking and they
Hmm.
are making their plans for their future, and you've got children and they've got so it's easy to control the population when they're separated. It was almost like the whole COVID situation to me seemed like a test subject of that, to
Oh
get
Lord,
everybody
yeah.
isolated, to get everybody alone. Couples, when they were together, were fighting because they had never spent
Yes.
that much time together because they're usually at work. And
Yes.
so, two things were going to happen. Couples found each other on the internet. That became really
Hmm.
big, and they were, because they were lonely. I know, I when I went
Yes.
through COVID, I when they said we could come back to work, I was I don't know if you ever seen this movie like The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, and he's driving. He had to be in before sundown because the plague had happened, and these creatures would come out. The road was so empty.
Hmm.
Or I Am Legend. That's the
Yes.
remake
It's
of that.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like that, and I didn't care because I got to go to work, and I got to be around some people, even if we had
Right.
to
Right.
be like 6 feet away from each other. It
Hmm.
was really a scary, scary time, and it was
Yes.
very lonely. And
Yes. Yes.
so the one thing I understand is that if we have people that are not coupled or
Yes.
newly coupled and they don't see the value in each other,
That's right.
we're not
That's
going to
right.
make it. We're doomed as a
Well,
species. How can you
and
make it if you just don't, you know?
a lot of it is, because um, the thing that's scary, and I always joke around about this, but it's kind of serious. With church, I think that when a couple gets married, I think that they become the first lady and the pastor of their house.
That's right. Yes.
And what I mean by that is, I'm talking about literally at your house. You're supposed to do, if you really call yourself a diehard Christian,
Right.
you should be praying,
Because you
fasting,
become priest of that, the man becomes priest of that home. That's what the
of that
Bible
home.
says.
The problem with that is that if the woman, in a lot of our churches, I'm gonna get transparent too,
Go
since
ahead.
we talking. I ain't trying to hurt nobody feelings, whoever listens.
Let's do it.
But
Let's do it.
sometimes when the woman comes to her husband and
Mm-hmm.
says, "Well, you know what Pastor said," you start
Mm-hmm.
this divide. And
Yes.
so it starts to kind of look like the pastor is the husband or the boyfriend or something going
Mm-hmm.
on,
There's something
because
going
no
on.
man, that's part of that respect thing. And it might not
Right.
even be thought of as being disrespect.
Right.
But she's looking at it like, well, we following our pastor. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but there's got to be a thing. I don't know if the church can really sustain itself as it has before.
Right.
Meaning, like, I think that, like, okay, let's say people that have been in church for 20
Mm-hmm.
years. We've been going to the same church for 3 years. I think when you get married, I think that your husband and you, both of y'all, should become the pastor, first lady of your house. Meaning, you're going to have some times when you're going to have Bible study. You're gonna have to get the word, and you're gonna have to be
Mhm.
doing just like a pastor,
Exactly.
of your own house. Now, I
Exactly.
think that should drive people together. You know what I'm saying, and
Uh-huh.
make people say, okay, we're in this together. So that means that, hey, man, sometimes you might have to find it to where we have church at home. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't never go to church at all, but I'm saying you got to start having church at
Hmm.
home. I mean, just have flat out church at home. Like I'm talking
Because
about,
the
like
pastor
go.
should not be the, and I'm a pastor, I can say this, you should not be the supreme authority in your home. The Bible says in the book of Genesis that her desire is to be to her husband,
Mm-hmm.
and he shall rule over her. Now, this
Right,
wasn't something that we made up. It ain't something we saying because we're chauvinists. This is
right,
something that
right.
the Bible has mandated. He didn't say
Mm-hmm.
your pastor, your desire shall be to your pastor, and
Mm-hmm.
he or she shall rule over you. That is not happening. And
Mm-hmm.
anything that contradicts the word of God is false.
Yes, right.
There is no pastor that's going to be more important than my husband. His word is going to be law, period. I'm a pastor, but guess what? I check my title at the door. My
Mm-hmm.
husband is law in our home, because when he says baby X, Y, and Z, baby is X, Y, and Z.
Uh oh, look at that.
That's right.
She
What are
moved
you
that
doing?
neck.
I'm a pastor. I feel
Yeah.
as though you should be listening to me. The devil is a liar.
See, and that's the scary part about it is because that's why the Bible talks about the devil being or the snake being subtle and
That's right.
cunning and all that. You could be thinking that you're doing the right thing in life and be
Mm-hmm.
dead wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You could be sinning and not doing the main sins. You know what I'm saying? You could be causing, what do they say, a miss. I forgot the verse, but you could find yourself doing things after a while. Like, man, I'm actually messing up around here. What the heck is going on? So I think a lot of times, again, back to the relationship thing, the respect level comes from honoring your husband. Now, that don't mean your
That's
husband's
right.
supposed to walk all over you. I'm saying both of y'all should be
Right.
sharpening each other up, right? But at the
Right.
same time, in this new world that we're living in, you have got to find ways to add value to that man and vice versa.
That's right.
Meaning, you might not need to make, if you are buying, and this is bad because I know I got a lot of sponsors on my page. Lord have mercy. I know I'll be getting sponsors and stuff on my Facebook and everything. I'm sorry, y'all, for what I'm about to say. But
All right.
like, if you have it to where you might not need somebody that's rich if you learn to
Right.
be happy and at peace with a cool creator. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some of the women that I meet and I've talked to on different other platforms, they
Mm-hmm.
always saying stuff like, "I need somebody to make 6 figures a month." I always say,
A
"Why?
month? Jesus.
Why do you need somebody to make 6 figures a month?" Oh, I need them to at least make. Okay, but what kind of bills do you have where you need 6 figures?
Six
So
figures.
a lot of women, or
Exactly.
what is it about this man being 6'4", which a lot of women say, hey, I need somebody
You got to be
6'4",
six
six
four
three.
now?
Yeah, 6'3",
When
six
Andre the
four.
Giant, huh? You just want
Yeah, you want to be a big man. So that's the thing.
he
A
said
lot of
six
times,
four.
but again, this is
John
inside,
Wayne. They want John Wayne.
exactly, inside these systems. You
Mm-hmm.
have this stuff that you have been watching TV to see this. So somebody's fed you this image that, well, I remember I used to see magazines and I used to see women. They got an image that we believe is beauty
Right.
because of TV, because of videos,
Right.
because of
Right.
movies.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I say a lot of times if you don't unplug from the system and say, hey, I don't know if I need 50 pair of shoes. I mean, I can have 10, 15, whatever, but do I have to
Exactly.
have 50? And the thing is, especially for black folks, when you know this man has a hard time on his job,
Exactly.
the
You
police
got
is
to have a
riding him and
Birkin
all that,
bag and
then you gonna make it to where,
yeah.
okay, if he doesn't work real hard and do two jobs or have a business, you basically taking yourself out of you pricing yourself out the market. And a lot of times
Right.
women be like, "Oh, no, why? That's what they don't understand a real queen." No,
A
you
queen.
priced yourself out the market.
A queen takes
You know
care
what
of
I'm
her
saying?
castle. That's what she take care of.
You price yourself because it's a
Birkin
lot of
bags,
guys,
$4,000, $5,000. You know what I could do with
man,
that? I could
man.
redecorate my house, my living room.
It's a lot of guys out there that make good income, 60,000, 70,000. Some of them make 100,000, but I'm saying they might
Yeah.
not make $100,000 a month. Because really, man, you got to look and see the system and say, man, somebody could be tricking me into this position or out of my position, and I don't know it.
Uh huh.
You
Well,
know.
here's the thing. I do hear a lot of women say they want designer shoes and red
Mhm.
bottoms and this. I don't own red bottoms, and I've never had a designer bag. Well, I had a Dooney and Burke bag once that I paid
I'm
for.
not saying never get one.
But
I'm
no,
just
it's
saying
not
that.
about not getting one. It is about priority. My
Yeah.
family has always been a priority to me. Now, as a shepherdess, I,
Wow.
as a shepherdess, I care about the needs of others before my
Mhm.
own needs. Like if I had $5,000, I wouldn't spend it on a purse or $10,000. I would probably make sure my family needs were okay, and I might donate it or put it into some fund for the church or put it into something that we were a project that the church was working on, or or like we had a fund where we would help pay people's bills,
Mhm.
and we like Pastor Val was really good when the when they shutdown happened and we were helping families um, get turkeys and stuff like that. And with Aldi's had this thing where they would feed a family of 12 for $40. So we
Mm.
fed quite a few families. So those are, I mean, I think it depends on the person's heart. I I would rather, as I said this to a friend of mine the other night, we were talking and he was shocked that I don't own a designer or anything. I just don't. I mean, I have
Wow.
jewelry. I just don't own a designer bag or anything like that because to
Mhm.
me, that could feed a family or that could help with
Mhm.
something else or that could go toward the house. Maybe we could buy a new washing machine or buy it. I
Mhm.
just, my mother was very different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
She was all about the family. And I think that when you get into a relationship, now, not to say that if my husband, wherever he is in this world, God send him please, if he ever bought me something like that,
Yeah.
I would turn it down because I would
Yeah.
not. But I
Yeah.
would, I would be extremely grateful. But I mean, that's not something I would ask for. Honey,
Mhm.
I really need some red bottom shoes, and because when I think about all of the needs of a family and all of the things that you know we would need, that wouldn't be something I do. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's not something
Yeah.
I'd ever ask for. It's not something I'd ever want. I think that the needs of the many outweigh the
Mhm.
needs of the few or the one.
Right.
I am a sci-fi geek, but
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think that when women, we like you said, we live in a microwave society, but we also live in a very materialistic world.
Mhm.
He's got to have six figures. He's got to be 6'4". You notice there's a lot of sixes going on in here.
Mhm.
Six six
Mhm.
six is the mark of the beast. It is the number of man.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I think that we are setting the stage for that system of government to appear because the Bible says that no man will be able to buy or sell without his mark, the mark of the beast, 666. And there's a lot of synchronicities when we think about this setting up.
Mhm.
Couples are, the Bible talks about the love of many waxing cold, love waxing cold. Love waxes cold and when you think about wax and when it's heated up, it gets
Yes.
cold pretty quick.
It gets cold very quick. It takes a minute to melt, but it gets
Yeah.
cold
Ooh,
super
but when
fast.
it's cold, it's
You
gold.
know, come on, somebody. But I just to add on to what you're saying, a lot of our behavior, back again to the ontological thing, a lot
Hmm.
of our behavior is our own. Okay, so we've been trained to behave. I hate to say this, but for lack of a better word, like demons in our own lives.
Yep.
Basically, we have been trained. Meaning, okay, we're trained to eat a lot of food, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, like, and I'm guilty of it too. I go eat food. I like to eat a steak. I like to eat, but the steaks I order sometimes it's like, did you really need that big of a steak? No, I didn't. But because I don't watch TV and I seen Texas Roadhouse and I seen Longhorn,
Yeah,
okay, and
right.
I program, and like I tell people all the time, I say, why would somebody spend $1 billion on a Super Bowl commercial? Because they want to get the thought in your head.
Mhm. Yeah.
They can get the thought in your head. They don't have to have you in chains or in ropes or nothing. You're gonna be thinking and you're gonna be
Right.
programmed. So I noticed certain things that we do that if you just unplugged and you just chilled out, you wouldn't even need to make that much money a year. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You wouldn't even need to be little. You say, man, I don't really need this. I hung out with some minimalist people for a while.
Hmm.
I'll tell you what, they are minimalist. I'm talking about like two plates, two sets of utensils. They only they have like a little small TV. I'm talking about they live in minimalist, right? And I said to myself, I said, wow, I could, man. I mean, I'm not saying I can't ever do it, but I've always had two vehicles, or
Right.
this or that, or a nice crib, or something. But we
Right.
have this gluttonous society that if you
Yes.
couple that with AI taking jobs, if you couple
Right.
that with illnesses that come from cancer and eating all the wrong foods,
Right.
and wanting to be materialistic, you'll keep yourself in the hole. You will keep it like forget the devil. You will keep
Right.
yourself in the hole. You look up and say, "Man, I just want to spend all the money." So why? How do you have to go spend it? Like, so I think a lot of what goes on in
Hmm.
relationships is if they don't recognize that, hey, we're being programmed.
Yes.
Somebody, we
Yes.
are on a hamster wheel. We're
Agreed.
we are we are mice in a cage. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I thought it's for really it's because they've been showing this commercial 50 times. Or in this movie somebody put an ad in there and I said, oh man, that's a good idea. We got Taco Tuesday. Not hating on Taco Tuesday, but everybody eats Taco Tuesday now because it's been marketed to
Taco
us.
Tuesday. Okay.
So it's kind of like I think that's the main thing you got to sit down and start thinking about. Like, okay, before I even go to this relationship, me and this person might not even be ourselves. We might be acting within a system. I mean, could you imagine being in a play and you don't even know you're in a play? You know what I'm saying? Could you
Oh, like the
imagine?
Truman Show. Remember that movie where
Yeah,
where everybody was actors and he thought he was in real life, but he was actually inside a,
that's what it's
yeah,
like.
his whole life.
That's what it's like because that's why people have these midlife crises and stuff like that. They're
Mhm.
like, yeah, they just wake up one day and say, I don't even love my wife anymore. You're like, wow,
Mhm.
what?
Well, I don't
It's
even love my husband.
all right. So I think that with relationships, I think the whole provider thing is the key, but women have to recognize that that's a man. He's not your homegirl. You know what I'm saying? Now, some
Exactly.
guys, I'm not okay. I ain't gonna hate.
Yeah.
There's some guys that like to get their nails done with their leg. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not hating on that because we're in a different era now. I came up in the
Right.
era where if he
Yeah.
did that, it would be like, oh my God, he did that. But nowadays, people might
Right.
have a French manicure that look better than their women's. You know what I'm saying?
I
The
know.
the, the
Eyebrows
bubble the
tweezed and
bubble
the
color.
lashes look good.
Hey,
You
but
do
I
the
mean, I'm not
lashes.
hating on we in a whole new era. That does
Chinese
not mean
done.
somebody's LGBT or nothing like that. It's just a new era that we're in now. So that's the question. You have to figure out, okay, how can I add value in this era? You know what I'm saying? Where
Right.
basically cooking and cleaning is a thing of the past now because you can hire somebody to cook your food because you can get Uber Eats. So that might not be all the ladies, slaving over a pot and all that. That could
Right.
be a thing of the past. So now women have got to think differently and men got to think differently. That's the
Right.
whole. That's those are the questions that we need to be asking. Now, how do we? How do I? If you don't need me to cook and clean you because you can hire somebody for a little or nothing, you know what I'm saying? Somebody can come.
Right.
I just had somebody ask me about washing clothes for me. Was only going to charge me a little bit of money. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't wash them yet, but I'm just saying the point is,
Right.
it was
Right.
just so the price for it is low to the point where it makes somebody look at it and say, okay. Then when you have the government swaying towards the woman, meaning if they divorce you, then they lean towards them to give them all the stuff. It's a lot of reasons why somebody shouldn't get married, and I think we need to create more reasons why people should.
Should get married. Exactly. I think that there is a lack of empathy when it comes to the feelings of others. I
Mhm.
feel like no one cares about how the other guy feels. You know what
Right.
I mean? There's a scripture in the Bible that says, look not everyone to their own things, but everyone to the things of others.
Hmm.
So that's a real scripture, and it's also
Yeah.
true in relationships.
Hmm.
Your husband's going through, or your partner's going through, and
Hmm.
they're upset. You don't know why they're upset. Do a
Hmm.
temperature check. Find
Yeah.
out what's going on in your partner's life.
Hmm.
Be proactive in that situation.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I would love to go on vacations and this kind of thing, but it may not be feasible to go on a vacation
Hmm.
in a relationship.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not right now. You don't know what's going on in his job or her job, or so that's why. Okay, honey, you know what? We can't go on vacation like that right now. Let's do a staycay. Let's find something to do around the city. Let's go discover a little town, or you know what I mean.
Hmm.
But if the money is not there, then you're going to have to work together to sustain the family.
And have
You
a
know,
good attitude. Have a good
right?
attitude.
Yes,
You actually like each other. You know, one thing I
right.
was telling somebody, and I know sometimes I talk ratchet on my page, but the one thing about sex and being provocative and all that stuff,
Mhm.
out of 24 hours out of the day, I was telling somebody this, you're okay, let's say somebody have sex and they make love or whatever, it's great. Okay,
Right.
out of a 24-hour day, you hopefully sleep between 6 to 8 hours. Okay, that's six,
These six,
right?
these 6 to 8, right?
You got 16 left. You might be at work for 6 to 8 hours. Okay, check.
Right,
Okay, so you got to find a way to start liking that person outside of the bedroom.
right.
Then you
And if
sit
that's
around that
not
person.
happening, that's not going to sustain a relationship either.
Exactly. Can you sit around that person and do absolutely nothing? I know some people that can't stand, they always got to have company around, but they always got to be doing something. They always got to be moving around. It's just motion. Just, okay, we're going to the store. We're going over here. They can't just sit there and just be
Enjoy
around each
each
other,
other.
because they never learned how. And that's why in the courting phase, you got to learn how to actually really court somebody. It's a lot
Right.
of things.
And
You
that's
know what
not,
I'm saying?
it just doesn't happen anymore.
I mean,
You know,
because there we go again with the microwave thing. But you can always make it fun and say, hey, how do you like your temperature in the house? I like my house to be 78, degrees in the summer, 77 or whatever. I like it to be 64 in the wintertime. Oh, really? What do you like? Oh, okay. Instead of just how big are your, what, or, what kind of this is this. All that's sexy and it's all fine. But I'm
right.
saying, really, the very Monday, because most of what you're going to be doing is boring, mundane stuff. And that's not bad. I'm just saying most of life is getting the
Right.
mail, paying the bill. So that's really what else people got to start doing is having a questionnaire and then asking some questions. Don't just say, I want
Right.
this, I want this, I want this, but actually say, what do you want? Because I don't even want you to waste my time. You might waste, I don't want to waste your time and I don't want you to waste my time. So
Exactly.
you ask me
What's
some questions.
important?
You know
And,
what I'm
and
saying?
don't
Like,
and don't say six figures. This
nah.
net has just been driving me crazy.
That's such a low level way of thinking because it's
Yes.
so much more to life than money. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? There's so much more to it
Yes.
because I tell you what, I was talking to my buddy the other day and he's an older guy. I think he's going on 60 now. And he's talking about how nowadays, he's looking for his woman to get him back and forth to the doctor. And in all honesty, that's something you need to be talking to somebody about while you're in your 20s. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
What happens when we
Retire.
get old and will you take care
Do
of me
you
and will I
want do
take
you
care of
want to
you?
grow old together? Let's just because some people
Right.
might say, I don't want to grow old together. Okay, cool. Some people might say that, but
You
I
die
mean
off
like
quick, huh?
like all that kind of stuff. So it's like how do you talk? But that's the thing. Courting should be at an all-time high. Talking,
Yes.
laughing.
Yes.
Oh, it should be a long interview process.
Yes.
Hey, well, what do you do? Oh, okay. Do you like the carnival? Do you like the zoo? Are you allergic to anything? Are you allergic to any animals? Do you want pets? Just over and over and over again, getting to know this person.
Right.
Because otherwise, you all would just be two strangers
In a house.
occupying space. And that's not.
Yeah, I see. I'm a firm believer that when I meet someone, um, sex, although it's important, sex should be saved because you want to get to know this person.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know who this person is. You can have all the chemistry and connection in the world, but I need to know if you're allergic to radishes. I need to know what your middle name is. I need to know who your doctor is. I need to know
Mm-hmm.
your blood type. I need to
Yeah.
know who your parents were. I need to
Yes.
know if you was crazy. I need,
Yes.
these are things that people don't take time to get to know. And then you end up in a Lifetime movie because you got a serial killer.
I told somebody one time, I said, you can make it fun too, because
Yeah.
eventually
Courtship is supposed to be fun.
it should be fun, and eventually you've got to go. I would tell people all the time, you all should get books, like therapy
Yeah.
books,
Travel
psychological
books.
books,
Yep.
books that you can look and say, okay, I like this place. Books on therapy, books on how to
Yeah.
work with somebody that's with the trauma. So then,
Yep.
not only
Yep.
will you get a good therapist like yourself to help the person, but at the same time, you can start looking at trigger warnings and saying, okay, I read these two books and I can know. I ain't saying I'm a therapist, but I'm at least not at zero. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So people need to learn, like I said, I think the goal. I don't mind when people say they want to be apostles and disciples. All that's good, but I think people should strive to be messiahs. You know what I'm saying? You might not never reach it, but I think you should try to be like Jesus, quote unquote. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
Meaning you should be somebody that prays over your spouse, that should fast with your spouse, that should spend
Yeah.
time with your spouse, and be able to actually console your spouse. And I mean, and then that way, when they come home, they can run to you. They can come to you and just melt and all that stuff because it's a mean world out there.
But
You know what
see,
I'm
it
saying?
also depends on trust. How can you
Mhm.
trust somebody that drops it like it's hot the first day you meet them? I mean, how much trust do you have for that woman?
Well,
You
a
know?
lot
I
a
mean,
lot of times
just saying, I don't trust nobody to be just trying to.
I knew somebody that met their child's mom at Freaknik. Now, if anybody know what Freaknik is,
I've heard of Freaknik.
okay, I'm
I've
gonna
never
help you.
been. I
I know
know
your audience know they're gonna
goes
try to
on in
pretend
there.
they're gonna try to pretend like you don't. But in Atlanta, Georgia, they used to have an event that was like I think it was like 3 to 4 days long, where it was just
Mhm.
lasciviousness. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Sex, lust, people doing all kind of wild stuff. I knew somebody that went down there. I ain't gonna say his name, and
Mhm.
but he was a professional guy. He worked at a professional thing.
Right.
And I think he worked at the post office at the time. So that's a
Mhm.
pretty nice sized job, and he's making good money. Met his
Right.
child's mother there, and they was together for a long time. Now, that I don't know if they got busy that night or whatever, but I know a lot of people that have had one night stands and are still with women. I mean, like, which is crazy to me because I'm like, I mean, I'm not trying to be silly. I mean, I'm not
They
saying
have
it's
like
true,
a one
but
night
like,
stand and they're still together.
yeah, like had sex the first night and then they just stayed together. That's vibe. And I'm talking about from
Wow.
black, I'm talking about black
Okay. All
people,
right.
white people,
It's possible then,
Hispanic.
I guess.
That flat out like we met each other in the bar and when she took me home and I ain't been able to get rid of her. I've had people say that kind of stuff to me. They still with her. Like, yeah, we just got
Or
together.
you
You
met
know,
somebody in a bar and had sex with them in a bar and you ain't been able to get rid of something else. It's called a
well,
disease.
I mean, that's what they. I mean, I didn't even go into it, but I was
That's
just
someone
looking at.
who's gone through that.
I was just looking at them like, man, what the? Wow, this is well.
Or,
But the thing is, you got to think about it. Nowadays, people aren't meeting each other out and about as much.
no, no, they're
They
not.
are sometimes, but people are in the house. People, okay, put it like this. I went to some events where it was a bunch of women in there and it wasn't hardly any men. I've heard
Oh,
from
wow.
multiple women saying men don't come up to women. I'm talking about white, black, professional, non-professional,
Right.
Hispanic, Asian. They're saying that women are not, I mean, men are not coming up to them breaking the ice.
Why do you
You
think
know,
that is?
I think a lot of times because again the environment, and most of the time women are looking for a certain type of guy that looks a certain way. Number one, number two, sometimes women because of the stalker thing, they shoot men down well before they even give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? I've always been silly enough to go up to a woman and say something to her because I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, but I know guys who will care. And this
Right.
particular one, I've been shy and I said, oh man, she's really pretty. I really would like to say something to her. But sometimes they just, especially sometimes I hate to say it, our black women sometimes they have it, sometimes the worst. Because they be looking frowning sometimes, and then you be like, "What you want? How you doing? Fine." And then you be like, "Lady, like I just said hi to you." I know. Hi. I know women who are like that. I remember there was a lady working at a restaurant one time. She was serving us our food. She was like, "You want some more?" And I'm like, but she was
No
African American. Like,
thanks. It's
you
okay.
know,
I'm good.
and then I didn't speak to her for a long time because this was a place we used to frequent until one day she was like, "Did y'all get some food this morning?" She was trying to be kind of nice, but I was trying to avoid her because I don't have time to be. I don't have time to be. I can't be black. Especially this is for my black brothers. I can't be black, fight the world, go against my boss who might be white and might pass me up for a promotion at any given
Right.
time. Drive down the street, the police might get behind me just because I'm black.
Oh my God.
When I walk through the store, they might follow me just because I'm black. And I'm light skinned. So just imagine people that's darker than me, right? But then I can't do that and then come home to
So the
somebody
light
who,
skinned brother goes with the dark skinned brother goes through too, or the brown skinned
yeah,
brother.
yeah, heck yeah, we do.
Okay.
We might get a pass on a few little things, but for the most part, we go through the same
Same
thing.
thing. Wow.
Same thing. And then ours is worse because I want to say something else, but I got to be careful because it's your show. But sometimes black people don't like light skinned. I'm talking about dark skinned blacks. Sometimes don't like light skinned blacks because they think they're better. or they think that they get some type of pass. And that's really hard because now you got the white people that don't like you for the ones who don't. And you got the black people that's dark skinned that don't like you for the ones that don't. And then you got this, so it just makes for another dynamic. So when you come home, or when it's time for you to try to step to some woman, you ain't got time to be. That's why a lot of guys I know a lot of guys that just date outside their race. I
Yeah, that's a
mean,
lot of same here. A lot of black women date outside their
a
race
lot of black
because
women that date outside their race because somebody has programmed, but that's all programming. Though. That ain't no accident. It's a program. If you ever check out Frances Cress Welsing, she's out of I forgot what state she's out of, but she did a really big study on genetics and things like that, and about how this stuff is really programmed. Now I don't know if it's exactly how she says it, but it is a coincidence. But a lot of times we as people we don't recognize the system that we're in and that we're being played like a fiddle. That's the
wow,
main
wow,
thing. That we don't get nothing out this talk.
right.
You know what I'm saying? You might not even like the colors that you pick as your favorite. You might say, "Oh, I watched this movie, and this movie, this lady had this on." So now you think that that's your favorite color, whatever. Or now you think this.
Hmm.
But I think that with these relationships nowadays, excuse me, if you don't find a way to add value in this new economy,
Hmm.
meaning, okay, now you might need to find you somebody. You might not care if he's 6 feet. You might need to know if he can fix the toilet. You might need to
Right.
know if he can fix the tire. You might need to know his toenails might be gray or black
Ew.
or crunchy, but you need to know how sometimes that pinky
Trying to
toe,
really
the
lower
pinky toe,
standards, right?
the pinky toe had a moose twist on it. But no, seriously, you might have to kind of say, okay, hey, he can hunt. He
He
can
can
build a
fish,
house.
right? He
He
can
can
cook a
sing.
steak. Let's
He
just
can
start with
change the
that.
tire. He can change the transmission up. Hey,
Right? He's
that's why I think the
handy.
whole thing with Beauty and the Beast was such a good story because
Beauty and the Beast.
nowadays, you might have to look at that person and say, hey, he's got an underbite, an overbite. He might need
What is
braces.
an underbite?
The
What is
underbite
that?
runs like this.
Oh my!
Like you remember the guy from Forrest Gump, Bubba from Forrest Gump?
Oh
That's the
right,
that's your underbite. Who else did an underbite? But
Oh God, you don't have no sense.
but basically, but I'm saying what I'm trying to
Okay,
say is the beat you
right,
might need to be somebody that's gonna go out there and shovel that snow. Somebody that might have to push your car.
right. It can
You know what
put
I'm
the
saying?
trash out.
Yeah, I think what's going
Lift stuff that's heavy.
with this new era, I think
Shovel the
really
snow.
it's going to be a resurgence of the beast. And what I mean by that is, I'm saying it's going to be some guys that's going to be looking at beautiful women saying, you know what, she's hot, but
Troglodytes are
she
coming.
costs she costs a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? She's
Mhm.
pretty, but them nails gonna cost. She's hot, but that tummy tucks and whatever else gonna cost me a lot of money. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna start going towards them sevens and sixes and fives, or either three, and just invest in that three. You know what I'm saying? And just say, hey, you want your? Would you be willing to wear some braces? Because I gonna get you.
Is this
Would
the
you be
man or
willing?
the woman? Which
I
one
think
is
both,
going
I
toward
think
the
both
threes?
ways. I think
Oh
both ways.
yeah,
I think
yeah. Okay.
because of the work that's got to be the work that's got to be done to maintain. It costs a lot of money, and I think what the truest part of this situation and what COVID kind of did, but right now, I think
Hmm.
when money is scarce, just like companies do. When
Right.
I used to go in and do consulting jobs and stuff for companies, they would be like, "We just need to save some money." They didn't care what it took to get down to that small number of employees. And then the funny thing was, a lot of the people who was there and that was entitled, that got hooked up with a job and all that was sitting there like, yeah, go over there and do that. They went and fired them. I don't care how many jokes you had. And you know who they kept? They kept the Hispanic. They kept the black. They kept the rugged YT person. You know what I'm saying? The white person that wasn't entitled, not the yuppie, not the one who was scared to get his nail. And it's all out there now. It's some
Right.
white guys out there that work their butts off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So they kept all that. Same thing with the women. They said we want somebody that we can get to do multiple things. Who ain't afraid to
Right.
get dirty? I think the new relationship. You could say I'm right. We can call it right now. What's the day? That June 10th. I think that in the future we're gonna see
Right.
more and more people with people that we wouldn't consider attractive physically. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? I really do. I think so. And I mean, or maybe not as wealthy. I think it's going to become more like, okay, if we were in a bartering service based economy, who would you pick? Who would you pick? You would pick that guy who knows how to build a house, who knows how to
Right. I would
fix it.
pick the guy who's handy. I would pick the guy who's, I mean, like, it's nice if a guy makes six figures, but that's not, for me, that's not a requirement. I want someone that I can build with, and that to me, having a partner is
Yeah.
more important than having a guy that's already set up and he doesn't need me for anything. I
And
want to be needed too.
I'm not hating on none of that. I'm saying I think there will be people who will be able to do that. But I think as far
Yeah,
as like
yeah. I mean,
if
yeah,
you're
better
gonna try
be
to
at
get
this
rid of
age.
all the money, because basically you can already tell what's trying to be done.
Right.
What people are trying to do. They're trying to make it to where we get rid of the middle class altogether, right?
Yeah, they're
That
going to break the back of the middle class. They're going
so
to
the middle
crush. That's
class will
been
be
they've been
gone.
trying for decades to crush the middle class.
So
And
now
with
what
the middle
happens?
class gone, you got rich and poor.
Yeah, rich and poor. So what you're gonna have
Right.
is some of those middle class people are gonna float up to be whatever the lower crust of the rich, and some of
Right.
those middle class people are gonna fall down to be the upper crust of the poor, right?
Right. Right.
But I think what'll happen on top of that, or in addition to that, is people are going to have very little cash flow or cash to spend on things they didn't like. So then
Right.
instead of having uh, measuring somebody by money because it's going to be so rare, you're going to just pick
Snacks are
some.
coming from.
You got to just pick somebody that you like that can do something for you that might not be monetary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that changes a lot of things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because then the person might say, okay, what does this person look like without her hair done? What does this person look like without her nails done? It'll
Like
start,
this.
you know, I'm talking worse than that. I'm talking about rough. You know, so
Well,
I
I
think,
have a reason. I explained to them that we're shooting a Tubi series in the morning. So I've had
mm,
face creams all day and mud mask, and also I'm a little
yeah,
rugged today.
I think you're doing good. But I think I think that's
Yeah.
where we're going. But yeah, I think that the value that's added in this future, I don't think it's going to be the same way it used to be because of the
Right.
resources. Because they taking away SNAP, they taking SNAP away from people. They trying to shave people's Medicare, Medicaid down.
Yeah.
They trying to mess with people's. There's some people who were reporting that they didn't even get any of their retirement checks that they saved up for. Yes, and this was not now I ain't talking about African American people. This was white people on TV talking about they didn't get theirs either. It's like white people at
Mhm.
farmers, farmers that are having trouble living and surviving. So I think what's going
People
to
have to learn how to work together as a team, and businesses have to come forth. I mean, in a relationship, with sustainability was somebody having a 9 to 5, somebody having a business. Now maybe you both need to have businesses.
yeah,
You know,
I don't think that I don't believe in college anymore like I used to. I
me
don't
either.
believe in trade
I've been
school
there enough.
because you might not be because I used to go out if I had children or if I
Right.
had I would want my woman to work. Period. I would want to just
You wouldn't
somehow
want your woman to work at all?
nah, no. And the
Really?
only reason why I say that is because I mean work for us, work for the family business,
Right,
but
right,
not work at somewhere and then she ain't working, I'm working, we're gonna never see. Nah.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather start a business. I don't care if we're selling food, food truck or something. But I would rather or
Mhm.
cleaning houses or something like that. But I would not want my woman to be working for someone else, nor my children. I
Exactly.
think that that's foolish for you to send
Right.
your children to go. Now,
That's why you have children. You
if
want them
your
to help with the
child
business, right?
if your child is a doctor, lawyer, something like that, okay, cool. But if your child otherwise, it's all about trades. I don't
Right,
believe in nothing but trade. That's all
right,
about. And I think that if you do that and you say, okay, we're going to be the last generation that does this working thing. You know
right,
what I'm saying? We're gonna have our children, and then my wife gonna be the CEO. She gonna. I'd rather send my wife to like
right.
tax classes, or to learn how to run a business, and then just give her a check, and then say, okay, let's
Or
go
if you
continue.
have in my case, I have a church, I have a counseling
Mhm.
center. So I want one of my kids, grandkids, somebody has to become educated and do that. I want somebody that's going to grow up,
Man,
take that over,
yeah,
run that. You want it to be sustainable generationally. You
yeah,
want to implement children, stepchildren, everybody needs to come
all of
together and get a piece of that, do something,
that.
learn
Yeah,
this system so that generations it'll feed our family. Even if I'm
Yes.
gone, I want to make sure that my grandkids and great grandkids and children, you know, um, just like with homes, I
Hmm.
buy a home. I'm not buying a home for me. I'm buying it to leave to my children. One
Yes.
day I'll enjoy it for a little while, but when I go home to be with Jesus, you
Wow.
know, they have a home if times
Yes.
get rough that they can move into. I
That's
think that
right.
we have to start thinking team and partner versus I need Mr. Hot Stuff with six
Yeah.
figures and a
Yeah.
mule,
Now, if if
40
you can
acres
get,
or
that's what I'm
whatever.
saying, if you can get Mr. I'm not saying there's not no hot stuffs out there,
Yeah, there are
but
hot stuffs out there, but
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying is that
they're not
I
the
think that as far as proximity wise,
right. It's not the bee's
like
knees necessarily, and it's
if
not
you
something that's sustainable or that will meet the needs that you
yeah,
currently have.
because sometimes when women pray, I used to joke around with certain people that I knew, and they would say, "Here's my list. I want them to be this. I want them to be this. I want them to be this." And I said, "Okay, now
Hair blowing in the wind,
what
muscles
responsibility?
rippled,
All that." I said, "Now what
winged
responsibility
horse
do you want?"
Pegasus,
All that. I said, "What responsibility do you think is going to come with have a man like that? Because other women going to be hitting on him too."
all the
You know what I'm
time.
saying? The women are gonna want your man. I'm not saying don't pray for it. I'm just saying I think
Yeah,
sometimes when we pray or we wish or we hope it when we don't really recognize the responsibility to
yeah,
maintain the miracle that took place.
right.
You know what I'm saying? If you meet somebody and he's gorgeous and he makes 6 figures and he got whatever in his pants, or however you would say, okay, now
Going on in his pants? What
if he's
happens?
well, you know what I'm trying to say, the pencil. But I'm sorry, sorry, heart to heart. Sorry, heart to heart people.
I'm
But I'm
trying to keep
saying
up, but go ahead.
yes. But what I'm saying is that you got to understand that wisdom would tell you that okay, if you want somebody that's gonna be sensible and stable. I'm not saying it's impossible for Prince Charming to be stable. But what I am saying is that if he's like that, and he's got the Corvette or the drop top or whatever, and he's got all the other stuff,
Right,
it's probably gonna be women that used to be with him that want to come back, or
right,
that are still trying to get with him. Do you want that? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
right,
don't. I'm just saying what kind of situation. What can you
right. Is he
provide?
going to be faithful to you, or is he going to be
You know,
sleeping with everybody and bring you
you know what I'm
something
saying? And,
new?
and I mean not just that, but I mean it could be a woman that's like that. That's real hot. You know what I'm saying? That okay, her ex boyfriend took her to Cabo. He took her to this and to that, and she looking at you like, "What you mean we just going to Walmart?" Man, roof in Motel 6. I'm used to where she drinking tea with her piggy in. So
Oh,
all those things are
wow.
what we have to make sure that we maintain. Like, okay, then you can pray for this miracle, wish for it, cross your fingers, do whatever you want to do, but are you ready to handle the responsibility that comes with that as you're alive, as you live? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's what I'm saying. It's love is being attacked, but you got to pay attention to what's going on,
right.
and say, okay, how can I not help this thing ruin my life? You know what I'm saying? How can I make it to where okay, if I want to spend all my money on designer? Now you could go to Burlington Coat Factory or TJ Maxx and find a lot of designer stuff. Nordstrom's Rack, Marshalls, and I may find the same hot stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it all
Red trade in New York, you can always find knockoffs.
you know, you know,
I mean, I did, but that depends on if that's important to you.
just in New York. Yes, that's so
I
true.
mean,
I
that's
still
got to
in New
be
Jersey, so yeah, I
if
used to
that's important,
see.
if that's what it is. But I don't
Mhm.
think that that's not important to everybody. Every woman that's pretty is not necessarily looking for the designer this and the Prada and all. Everybody's not always
Mhm.
everybody's not doing that.
Yeah.
Not that that's anything wrong with that. If you wear Prada and you wear, you got Birkin bags,
Mhm.
and you wear the red bottoms and the Louis Vuitton, that's
Mhm.
fine. But that's not
Mhm.
every woman,
Yes.
and that's not. And if you found someone that's doing all that, then great, hold on to them.
Hey,
you
yeah,
know,
no problem.
right. But we're talking about average couples that may
Yes,
not have the money to do those things,
yes.
or maybe they do have the money, but they want to do something else with that.
Hmm.
Everybody's
Hmm.
not into the flash. You
Yes.
know, I mean, nice cars are wonderful. They really are, and they're amazing,
Hmm.
and they're nice to have, but not everybody has it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's, is doing that. So I guess what we're saying is love American style, we're going to have to change our way of how we're doing things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or you're
Overall.
going to be showing them with your hit 'em up style. So you don't want to be
Yeah.
doing
Yeah. That's real talk.
that.
That's real
Right.
talk.
You
You know?
because after that's all done and you split up, you still have to, now the two is now become that was one now becomes two again.
That's
And
right.
so now you're trying to live separate and it's rough. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
want him, but I still want him to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
What? I
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
I ain't want her, but she still got to do this, that, and she
Yeah.
like, what? So you're going to have to learn when you choose to split up, you are
Mm-hmm.
choosing to live apart. You're
Yep.
choosing to take all that comes with that
That's right.
for whatever reason, whatever the breakdown was, because I'm a firm believer, whatever breaks down that marriage didn't just start. That's been a
No,
work
no,
in
no.
progress for at least
That's
10
right.
years,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now that it is broken down, you can't sit and pretend that you don't understand why, because you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
honest about what breaks up a relationship. It
Yes.
is it is the not just the growing apart, but the lack of respect.
Yes.
And the lack
Yeah.
of respect may start small, disrespecting a man. What he gonna do? What you gonna do? But
Mm-hmm.
take it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he can leave. Because
Yeah.
every man is not going to sit there and let you just disrespect and pulverize him while
Mm-hmm.
you run your mouth and say all kinds of mean, nasty things,
Mm-hmm.
or disrespect him to your family. That is the utmost um, relationship killer.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
what he's doing? He ain't showing me no love. Well, how can he show you love if you disrespect him?
Mm-hmm.
Men are tough and hard on the outside. They're
Yeah.
like little boys on the inside. Once you
Ain't no
crush
like
their little
two. They are.
spirits,
Ain't no
yeah,
like two. We are little boys on the inside.
yeah, you crush their spirits and hurt their feelings and stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
walk around not even speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you like, but he ain't speaking to me. I won't speak to him back. That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. You know what? I don't know if you ever heard of Shahrazad Ali. I think she's
Yes.
from Philadelphia. Okay. She made a statement one time. She said some women, not all women, but she said a lot of women. I don't know if this is just in the 70s or what, but she said some women's mental capacity is like that of a 14-year-old girl.
Wow.
And I was like, because at first when I first heard her say it, I said that's ridiculous. That's impossible. But then when I started
That's
really, man, impossible. But when I started paying attention to it, I said, hmm, she might be right. There's not an adult in the room in a lot of these. And then you got women that are, man, if you go on some of these podcasts, and you listen to how people are talking and they hate each other, and they got just people just fighting. It's like WWE. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man ain't this,
Mhm.
and women ain't this, and man ain't this. You could probably look up a podcast, from God knows where. I mean, like, just look up one and just say, oh man, and you'll find a fight on TikTok or a fight on YouTube or a fight. And I noticed that a lot of time, and I'm not just saying women, I mean, period, just I think the
Right.
14-year-old thing
Yeah, the
is
disrespect is
amongst
real.
people is so real. And it's like I just want to, but all that is rooted in stuff like the Willie Lynch letter, in stuff like we just,
Hmm.
we can't stand each other. No, really, you can't stand me because you see that I'm in this system that can't protect you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's okay. It's okay that you feel that way because I think you should feel that way because but let's just recognize that I'm in a system. So you can't expect Dr. Umar, who was from that state too, he was saying something about how expecting a black man to do the same things other men do is not fair because he got tons and tons of different blockages trying to ruin his life. You know what I'm saying? And that's not
Hmm.
you all's fault. You know what I'm saying? But it makes it
Right.
really, really suck because it's like, dang, man, like wow. And then it makes it hard because you want me to buy you all this stuff and you putting us in the hole because you want this many You already got beautiful purses, but now you want 10 more purses or another BMW or another Mercedes Benz. And this boss is still passing me up for promotions. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? This boss,
Right.
even though I got my degree and all this other stuff,
Right.
I don't get treated like these other people that are not
Exactly.
black. You know what I'm saying? So stop asking me to or expecting me to do all these things as if I'm not slave. In some cases, I am still treated like a slave. They took the signs down, right? And then people expect, oh man, okay, well things have changed. No, 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 no. In some cases, I'm still a slave, and I mean that's understandable. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
in
that's
many
something that I think
cases,
women and men have to listen, think about it, and say, okay,
mhm,
this is true. We are not in a okay. We are in a war zone. They just
right.
use other weapons other than guns sometimes. But
Well,
we are
you
very much in a
know,
war zone.
I was thinking too, okay, so men go through at work, but women go through also. I had a boss that was bipolar, and I worked for an attorney, and he was off his meds one day. So, no, no, I'm serious. No, seriously. I was like his eighth assistant in two
Lord.
years. So
Mm,
I was new. I worked a case and I did a, a packet that was supposed to go out. This packet was like, I think the first one was like 200 pages. So,
mhm,
um, so you don't send a packet out until till he, your boss signs it.
mhm,
And so he called the other side and was, yeah, well, we got the packet done. And what do you think of the packet? And she's like, I don't have the packet. What are you talking about? I have
flat
the
out.
packet. And so he called me and he was yelling and screaming at me. And I was like, what is he talking about? Like, what is going on? I mean, he's yelling and screaming, are you a moron? And this and that. And I'm being transparent, right?
Yeah.
So I have never, to be honest with you, been spoken to like that by anyone,
Ooh.
let alone a boss. So I had to collect myself because my eyes got teary. I was like, my eyes teared up and I was at my desk. And while he was yelling at me, I'd never had anyone yell at me like that.
Mm,
And so I closed my eyes and I said, okay, let me call you back. And I hung the phone up because
mm,
I just couldn't take it anymore. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I needed to discover what he was talking about. So I called over to the other side and they were like, yeah, your crazy boss called here. I was like, what? And they were like, we just talked to you 2 days ago and you said you were sending the packet over to us on Friday because it had to be FedEx because it was so big. And
mm,
and so we're expecting to get this package Monday. He's talking to us as if we already have this package. Mind you, it is still in his bin because he never signed it to go
mm,
out. So when something is signed to go out, he puts it in it. So it goes into a special bin and then it's processed and packaged to go out. But it was
mm,
only Tuesday. It wasn't supposed to go out until Friday. We had already
mm,
ordered FedEx, the whole thing.
mm.
I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. What cases it? And so once I heard her side of it and how he was saying all this stuff and bashing me, by the way. And so I called him up and I said, listen, before you get started, wait, because I listened to you.
Mm,
I'm going to have a conversation with you. I said, now you hold on because I need to take this in a conference room. Because I didn't want
mm.
anyone else. I wasn't going to disrespect him. It's not my style at all. I'm a therapist. So
Yeah, yeah,
now I know
yeah.
you're nuts.
Disrespectful. Yeah, even though you know he's nuts though.
Yeah. So I get in the conference room and I'm like, first of all, I called them. I told you not to call them. Yeah, I know you told me not to call them. But in order to straighten out what you're saying is wrong, I need to talk to the other side. So what happened is that you are so hyper over this case
Mm,
that you forgot that this packet doesn't go out until Friday and you haven't yet signed it.
mm,
You reviewed it and you haven't signed it. I said, look, if you lose faith in this case, if you lose faith, then what hope is there for our client? What hope is there for
mm,
me? Who knows this case better than you? You are the expert. You told me what was wrong when I revised this letter. A letter for us was like 200 pages because it's a demand
mm,
letter. I'm like, so I'm looking at your eyes to tell me what's wrong and what's right. We did everything that you asked. You know, everything is corrected. It is you're supposed to sign in and go out. It doesn't go out till Friday.
Mm.
You're second guessing yourself. You can't do that. You are
Mm.
the expert. If this goes wrong because you're second guessing yourself, then the client loses. My
Mm.
faith is in you. You're Batman here and we need you.
Mm.
So he felt better.
Yes.
I'm like this when I go home, I'm upset, you know? And my boyfriend at the time, you know, I said to him, you know, this, and this happened at work. And, you know, I am so upset, blah, 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 blah. Before I could get out what really, all of what happened. Well, what did you do wrong? Obviously, you did something wrong. What? So, right then, I learned that not only did you not listen to the entire story, but you
Hmm.
automatically assumed that I did something wrong, which
Right.
says that you are not on my side and I
That's
am
right.
with the wrong person.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I don't have to tell you what was going to happen next.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay with someone who's not on my side. And you can't take for granted because we're in a relationship or were in a
Hmm.
relationship that that is okay.
That's not okay, especially not
No,
for a person of
a
color. Seriously.
boss yelling and screaming at me like that,
Yeah.
belittling me, not just in
Yeah.
front, like in front of everyone. And I had to
Mm-mm.
swallow that. And all you can say is,
Mhm.
"What did you do wrong?" Before I even finish the story,
Yeah.
like so
See.
that it is important, and I'm being very transparent that your person is on your side
Oh my God.
because now I have no respect for you as a man.
Yes.
Because now you're not only are you telling me you're not on my side, but you wouldn't defend me if I needed you to. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what a man on your side would have been like? I am going up there. Never going to speak to my lady. Like, you know what I mean?
And
That's
see,
what I
that's the
want to
thing.
hear.
A lot of times too, because see, men go through that a lot.
Right.
That's why I don't really believe that women, and I'm not being chauvinistic, I'm being so honest when I say this. I don't believe that women, I believe the family unit should be together.
Right.
And I believe that
Exactly.
the man should go and hunt and all that stuff. And I think that
Right.
now if she wants to work
Exactly.
for your family. It's a
Yes.
family owned business where she's
Exactly.
her own boss,
Right. That's a
and she
little bit
makes her
different. But
own
somebody
money.
yelling at your wife or your
But the thing
girlfriend
is,
is not cool.
that's the thing though. If she's living again, it's the environment again. If
Yeah.
she somewhere where she lives, and she operates like that, where she went and got a job, that kind of comes with it though. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. It
her, but
does.
the
Well,
thing is,
it
but the system,
shouldn't,
it
but
shouldn't,
it
but
does.
it does. And the thing
Yeah.
is, you can't get upset, even though it's messed up. You can't get
Right.
upset really because you're in that arena, and then
Right.
it's like, okay, now you put on this thing. That's what I'm saying. But the confusion is not your fault. See, it's all in
No,
the
no, he was
mindset. Yeah,
actually nuts, but it
yeah,
just
exactly.
wasn't.
But that's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? It's like um if you have a situation where you um are or in a relationship with
Right,
somebody, and then you're at a job working for somebody.
right,
It goes back to the pastor thing. It goes back to the boss thing.
right. You're
I
coming to
believe.
your partner because he's your head. He's the person you look
I
up
hear what
to.
you're saying, but at the same
Right,
time, you're asking for another male or female to feed you. You know what I'm saying? If you were going into an arena, there's a,
right,
like I felt bad for Colin Kaepernick, right? Because he took a kneel, he kneeled down, and he was like, I believe we should be able to kneel. He should. That's
right,
true.
right, right.
But you have an employer, sir.
Yeah,
No offense towards him. I like Colin Kaepernick,
right,
but overall, you have an actual job. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Meaning, you and like technically speaking, when you on Sunday, even though you just
right,
you play football on Sunday, but that is your time. If I try to go into my job
right.
tomorrow, excuse me, and try to tell them what I'm not, hey, it's such, and I feel I shouldn't have to do no work in here because I'm not. They'll be looking at me like I'm crazy. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? But
so respect goes this way. Like to my boss's credit, he did say, "Hey, I'm bipolar. I suffer from this, and I haven't had my meds, and this and that." And I apologize. He did apologize, which went a long way with me because I'm thinking, you were insane. You're an insane person, you know. But it doesn't take from the fact that women are emotional. So I'm upset when I go home,
I agree.
you know, and my person is long distance at the time. My person at the time was long distance, and you know, because he traveled all the time, and I'm venting to him. You have to be able to have that safe space to
Yeah.
vent to your person that this happened, and I'm so upset, and this and that. So, and not only do I need you to hear me out, but I need you to be on my side.
And console. Basically, you said you needed to console you, not
Yeah,
just say,
I just wanted to be
you know,
consoled. I didn't need
you
his
want to
money. I
be
didn't need his help. I
consoled.
just
You
needed,
need to be
right.
like,
Right.
not
And
like,
so you couldn't offer basic comfort. So that just says
mm-hmm,
that you are just not the person that I want to gel with or spend
mm-hmm,
the rest of my life with, because we cannot even, you can't comfort me on the most basic level. So
yeah.
that is not good when
No, it's
you're
not
not
good
on
at
your
all.
partner's side.
And
What
some
did
people,
you do? Did you do what? Wait, what? First of all, you don't even know all of what happened. You go there, like what? We're not in a safe zone. And so once that is violated,
mhm,
it's hard
it's
to
hard to
respect
come
a
back.
person like that. You
Hard to
don't
come
even want to
back.
be with that person no more.
Yeah, it's hard to come back. And the thing
Yeah, from
is,
that.
it's kind of scary because if you really pay attention to it, especially in love and then all the other things. That's
Right.
why I
That
say,
matters. When you hurt a person, you
as
disrespect.
soon as you can get your wife or your children into business, that's why a
Yeah.
lot of times Donald
So
Trump
I do
does
see
a
what
lot.
you're saying about the business.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because if she's going, you can't get mad if she's going over there asking them for a job. He can say in his mind whatever he wants to say
Right.
because he owns the video or he worked for the video, whatever he's
Keep it in
doing.
your mind, whatever you
That's
want to
why,
say.
exactly. Well, that's why it's time for you to say, okay, you know what? I understand that because this is their stuff,
Right.
but in America, the amazing thing about America is that with the internet,
Right.
man, you can start your own stuff tomorrow. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You can just,
Right. Right.
I'm about to do blah 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 blah. Boom.
Right.
You can get on the website, get your logo, register your LLC, get a bank account.
Right.
You can be up and rolling in 4 days. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, but that's the thing. If you are, that's what I mean, like about trimming the fat and saying, okay, here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give her this money, whatever. Because as long as you are, and this is not just black people, this is people, period. You know what I'm saying? If your wife is working for somebody else, then they're gonna run their own ship. You know what I'm saying? No different than you
Right.
can. Okay, like I have to abide by certain rules because this is your podcast. I can't just do whatever I want to do. I mean, seriously, and out of respect, I'm
We can
respectful
talk
of
about the swear jars.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? For real, seriously. Because if this was me by myself, I probably said a whole bunch of cuss words by now.
Yeah, no.
But but out of respect and
I
knowing that this
appreciate the
is
respect.
your stuff,
Right.
I'm like, I'm like, I got some sense.
So I'm gonna
You know what I'm
behave.
saying? I'm gonna behave for right now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying this is your stuff. But the way the internet is set up, I can go start my own stuff. And I
Yeah.
can just
Yeah.
say whatever I want to say
Yeah.
all day, all night, stick my tongue out, whatever I want to do. So that's the thing. That's the beauty of
Mhm.
America. America is set up in that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But you make sense when you talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
That's
Steve,
okay,
but
that's all right. Yeah.
I just want to hone in on a point that you made, that couples need to consider having a business. And
Ain't
like
no
you
computer
said,
good.
if your wife had her own business, then you would be able to monitor that. You would be
That's
able to
right.
make sure she's safe. You would be
That's
able
right.
to see that, yeah, because that is a scary thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
she's coming home at night in the
Oh
subway
man.
and all
Oh
that.
man.
And if your wife's cute, then you run the risk of somebody hurting her,
Exactly. Or
on the
try to
way
do something
home.
else to her.
Right. Yeah.
So that's all. That's the sad thing about that. Same thing with the
Yeah.
children, though. Same thing with the children. They
Right.
can't. Now, I'm not saying okay. I'm not for college at all. If I have my choice and I had children, I would tell my
Right.
children to get a trade, become an
College.
electrician, plumber,
Mm-hmm.
HVAC, whatever.
A trade.
But
Right.
but at the same time, if you just say, "Well, I'm just going to college," at least find a way
Right.
um,
Right.
to basically have your own business and use your degree. I don't care if you start off doing a half of it because we're going to get passed up and you can't get mad at somebody. you can't act like oh, but the young man got shot by the Asian guy who owns the store for the bottles of water or whatever, or whoever
Right.
shot.
Right.
I've thought a lot of things, and I'm upset and I'm sad that it happened. But at the same time, we got to create a world. You should create a world for your child to where they're not living in scarcity and lack. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't know if you ever heard of
Exactly.
Maslow. I'm sure you know Maslow, the hierarchy of needs,
Yes.
because you
That's
are a
exciting.
therapist. I know you know that.
Yes.
And basically, basically, if a person can keep that as a focal point, said, okay, let me
Right.
make sure that my wife has all her needs. Can she
Yeah.
use the restroom, do her hair,
Right.
get herself done, go shopping? Because she can't even think about deep things if her needs aren't met. Same thing for children. You know what I'm saying? How do you expect for her to think about all this stuff and she worried? You know what I'm saying? So I think that the beginning of it is unplugging and trying to basically get to where you all are tithing towards each other. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Tithing
Exactly.
towards each other,
So
and
that
then
means you might have
basically
to put a vacation off and all of that other stuff,
until you get
and
your
maybe
business up and
invest
running.
in a business.
Or either you could
Yeah.
invest in stocks or some type of mutual fund or something. But I'm
Right.
saying you got
But
to get to
something that
where
the
you
kids could join in that would sustain generational. I
because
like that idea that, and I
because trying
wish
to get your
that.
wife to get somebody to be nice to your wife. I'm not
Right.
saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not supposed to, but I'm
Right.
saying that it's
Be
kind of back.
respectful of your person at
Yeah,
least.
it's just kind of backwards because
Yeah.
he can say whatever he wants. It's like if I come to your house and you say, Steve, I don't sit in this area. You got to sit in this area. I'm not gonna say, well, I'm supposed. I was on your podcast and we've been cool. You should let me sit anywhere. No, you're gonna have rules
Right.
and regulations, just like everybody. Every
Right.
boss has rules. So we
But
got. We want to get out of
disrespect goes beyond especially then, and he felt bad because it wasn't even true. I mean,
yeah,
but he was having a crazy episode. That was all
mhm,
right.
yeah.
But it doesn't. She's gonna be upset. I mean, I was upset. I had never had an employer speak to me like that, and I was in tears. I was crying at work because I'm emotional and my feelings were hurt.
Mhm.
But I mean, in my case, I was able to do something about it, but it didn't take from the fact that I was still very upset when I got home.
And you're still vulnerable because
Yeah,
now you got to go right back to work. I know another
right.
lady. She
You
went
got
to
to deal with
HR.
this person again, right?
She went to
It's crazy.
HR and this was a white lady. She went to
Right.
HR and told that they was mistreating her at the job, and
Uh-huh.
right because she was a lady and she wasn't in the. But at the end of the day, that's their business,
Right.
and they like you can go somewhere else and work because we're gonna run our
Right.
stuff the way we see
You
fit.
want to work.
But
Yeah.
since she has her HVAC license and some other stuff, I said, you know
Uh-huh.
what, man, you might have to, because you can go and get your own business and just go ahead and start, hang your shingle up there. So a lot of companies that will are people that will hire her because she's cheaper than the company because she doesn't have the overhead. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So you don't have to basically,
It's
but you
amazing.
got to get it. That's one thing about Trump, and I think I was telling somebody about this on a very spiritual level. I
Hmm.
said, even though orange, I call him orange hair sometimes, being funny, but I mean, but I told somebody, I said, even though orange hair is ruining things in a lot of ways, really he's showing you what you're gonna have to be in this next cycle.
Yeah.
See, he's an entrepreneur, so you really can't fire him.
Right.
He constantly builds businesses and he puts his children in position
In
to be
charge.
someone like he's
Right.
building. And so he's constantly making businesses, and then he can do bankruptcy, he can do whatever. But you
Right.
cannot, you can't really fire him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's the way it's got to be for couples. And I ain't just talking about black couples. I'm just talking about couples. Period.
Couples in America, middle class couples,
You know what I'm saying?
low
If
class
you
couple.
had it,
Right.
whatever,
You
you
need to
not
have
have your wife.
businesses.
It should be even if you just have her cleaning up or sorting or organizing. I say make her not make her, but ask her to learn taxes and stuff like that. And that's what you're gonna really need is a tax person.
Right.
So or somebody to help your money grow. You hand her a check and then she know how to trade stocks and all that. But she should not be subject to what a man wants her to do. That's not
Right.
fair. But she shouldn't be begging him either though. You know what I'm saying? Which having a job is kind of like begging. You know what I'm saying? In that way. I mean, for real, seriously. You know what I'm saying? So now it's
Okay.
like you
Yeah.
can't be
Okay.
upset because he want to run. Same thing. I mean, exact same thing that you would do. Your grandson, you want him treated a certain kind of way because you want him treated that way.
Well, he's going to school for a trade. He's in college,
Yes.
but he's also in school for a trade, which I think is smart
Yeah.
because
I
he
would.
wants to eventually be in business for himself. And he's
Yeah.
young, but he understands that if I want to take care of a family, I need to have my own business. I need to
Yeah.
have my own,
Yeah.
and I do admire that about him that he figured
Yeah.
that out, at a young
Yeah. Heck
age.
yeah. Heck yeah. You know. But that's the thing. If we don't get those core concepts down, I mean, that's the problem with love. It ain't about the dating and all this. It's all these
Right,
little systemic things
right,
that you need to do that are really, really impeding the process of love. That's really what the problem is. It ain't about who look good, who's sexy, and all that, because none of that stuff will matter. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
You broke, right?
You know what I'm saying? If you broke, you ain't got no money. You're like, man, my wife working third.
What good is her looks? No,
I'm working first shift. My wife is at work right now. We just gonna do this for the next 5 years. That's not no way to live. You know what I'm
no,
saying? That's
right,
not no way. To live. You want to actually grow up
right. If you
and grow.
have a business and you need to be putting that business up and practice, and you guys pull together and work together as a
Mhm.
team and make that thing work. But
Yes.
you have to make sure that the person that you're with, I'm sorry,
That's
my
okay.
allergies are really bothering me. You have to make sure that the person that you're with is you're able to work with. That's a
Yes.
true partner. And being
Yes.
able to recognize that quickly is important. When you have
Yeah.
somebody that's with you that's not with you, you can't
Yes.
build with that. I don't care what
Yes.
they got going on. I don't care how cute they are.
Yes.
You need someone that is, a partner, a true partner that
True.
you have an equal give and take with. And
Yes.
you need to examine that before it's too late. You don't
Before
want
it's
to
too
marry this
late.
person and you locked in with assets and this kind of thing, and you're stuck, and this person is a goofball,
Yeah.
anybody that's not going to have your back or doesn't recognize the importance of respect and working together and building as a
Hmm.
team is not somebody you want to stay with.
It's not somebody you want
Period.
to see,
It's just
and you want to
not.
find that out sooner than
Yeah,
later.
rather than later.
We don't want to look up and be like, you
Right.
know what? It's been about eight
You go
years, about
home and you
basically
telling
eight
them
years
what's
of my
about your
life.
day.
Yeah, yeah. No,
They
we don't
talking to you
want that.
crazy.
Talking to you insanely. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
No, no way.
No, 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 no. So
Mm-mm.
that's the thing. You have to comb through your life and just say, okay,
All right, hang on, my GCPR family, my podcast family. I have to get rid of my radio family. Uh, not get rid of, but I have to say goodnight to.
good
All
night,
right.
radio family.
Good night, radio family. Thank you for joining me, my GCPR radio family. Coming up is Teen Nathan. That is the show to watch tonight or listen to. So I want to say to you, thank you for staying with us and thank you for listening to my special guest, Steve West. Steve, say goodnight to my radio family.
Good night to your radio family.
And I want to say to you, may God go with you and be with you for the rest of this week until we meet again next week. From my heart to your home, thank you. Good night and God bless you. And if no one has told you they loved you today, remember that I do. Good night. Thank you for listening. Yes, we are closing out. Okay, my podcast family, the talk is continuing.
Yes.
Let us continue. We have all night. Well, not all night because Pastor G has to get up in the morning for
That's all
taping,
good. But yeah,
recording.
you fire away. Any other questions you got? We
Well, I like
vibing.
what you said about the American family and the
Yes,
plight of the American family. It
yes, yes.
is, it is in crisis, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of it is because we are working against each other and not with each other.
And they don't. And the bad thing is, it's a real cool word my buddies told me a long time ago. Unbeknownst. We are doing these
Unbeknownst. Yes,
things unbeknownst to ourselves. That's
that's
the
right.
scariest part of all this. You don't even know you're going in the wrong direction. You don't even. I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about period. People. Period.
Right, right.
So
People,
there are things that we're doing. We're like, man, I'm actually my own enemy in this situation. Yes.
yes,
With a lot of black women, I noticed that, and women, period, but a lot of black women, they don't even realize that they are giving their good years away. Just giving them
right.
away.
All
You
right,
know,
talk
by
about
the
us
time
giving our good years away. I like that. Let's
I was,
hone in
you
on
know, I know a
that.
nurse, right? It was a nurse that I know. For some strange reason, I think I should have been a therapist first of all, because
I really
people
think
used
you
to,
should have been, Steve. I think
man,
you missed your
people have
calling.
called all these years of my life. People have
Hmm.
always called me,
Although it's
and I've
cool
been
that you're an
trying.
engineer. I bet I think that
Man, I mean, yeah, I'm a
it's
cool engineer. I was actually going to be a physician, believe it or not, an actual surgeon, believe it or not, but I
wow.
got sidetracked very easily. But I used to always have women. I'd be trying to get my Mac on, but really, women used to be like, Steve, I need to tell you about my problem. And I mean, like, I'd be like, I'm trying to get my Mac on. I didn't say it like that, but I would be like, I'm trying to
Okay.
talk to you. We want to, but they would talk to me about stuff, right? Well, I knew a lady who was a nurse who she said she was trying to have children, right? And I don't know if I told you this, but I have been an herbalist for a long time. You know,
No,
helping
I
people
didn't know
heal
that.
themselves. Yeah, helping people heal themselves. I've been an herbalist for a long time. You know, so somebody gave her my number because they knew I did the herb thing, blah blah, and medical astrology, which that's a whole nother conversation. But so she was
Okay.
coming to me. She was coming to me asking me. She was trying to get pregnant,
Uh huh.
but she had been eating a certain diet, blah blah. So we go through
Right.
this thing or whatever, and she's telling me how I got my nursing degree and I'm making this much money. I said they robbed you, and she was like, "What?" I said, "You've been robbed." She said,
Oh,
"What do you
wow.
mean?" I
Yeah.
said, "They sold you on this idea of being independent. So your childbearing years when you're supposed to be getting pregnant, getting married in your 20s, and 30s, while
Right.
you're trying to get a PhD and all that other stuff, you're basically shutting the door on getting pregnant in your very healthy years.
Right.
You
Because
know what I'm saying?
you're pushing children off so that you can finish school.
Right. And see, but again, you're in this system though that told you, okay, let me see if I can. I'm going. If I can't beat them, I'm going to try to join them. But that's all trickery though. You get
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? Because now you're trying to be something, but then you don't know what's coming with that. What comes with being in the workplace is like stuff like what you talked about, male chauvinism. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Males trying to fill on your boo boo when ain't nobody looking. Excuse my language. I'm just saying, males trying to do other stuff. They're trying to make you do certain things, that's not fair. You
Oh
know what
my
I'm saying?
God.
It's
Maybe I
really
want to
not.
go back
You know
to
what I'm saying? Brush up against you at the coffee thing. But I'm saying it's a scary
Right.
thing because
Yeah,
if
it's
you
real.
really
It's real talk. I guess.
if you really sit back and think about it, you say, okay. She said, well, yeah. She said, yeah, you're right. She said, I gave up all those years. I said, yeah, and they doing it to many women. You know what I'm saying? As they push this independent girl, and it's not just for black women. They
Right.
have women who are thinking that what's foolish about it is you think that that's better. You think it's better to go and compete with men who are going to really unseat you, who ain't going to pay you what you're worth, who are going to pay you less, even if you're white, even if you're black, you will get paid less. You know what I'm saying? You're
Right.
gonna get
Right.
mistreated and all that stuff. So now you don't get mad because you chose to be a male when you could have just, especially in America when men were actually trying to pursue women. You know what I'm saying? When they were actually trying to actually pursue women and date them. You know what I'm saying? So she says this to me. She's really super sad now. And I said to her, I hate to be the one to give her the bad news. I was like, hey man, I didn't say hey man, but I was like, look, you got time, but the thing is, you have to look at this and say, wow, I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Somebody
Right.
sold you a dream, but then again, I had to give her the economic speech. I said, now you're a single woman that's going to be spending more money at the mall because you don't have a husband or any children. So what they did was they can made you confused. Being a nurturer is not bad, but nurturing the wrong people is bad. You get what I'm saying? Like you could
Right.
be
Right.
mothering, right? But you mothering the wrong person makes no sense. You get what I'm saying? So it's designed, and this is one thing, and I know sometimes I get upset about the church and everything, but it's really true.
Right.
God designed for man and woman to be together. You know what I'm saying? So when it's time for
True.
you to nurture, you're not just going around nurturing anybody everywhere. You just go, I'm just nurturing anybody. No, you have an actual husband to nurture. You know what I'm saying? Or you have
Right.
a wife to
Right.
nurture. You know what I'm saying? You have your children to nurture. You know what I'm saying? But when you take that out, I think the thing, if I think I would say something about a devil, a quote unquote devil, it would be the author of confusion. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? Because you got
That's right.
people who are using their natural things in the wrong way. you're supposed to have sex and be sexual with your spouse, but not everybody. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be
Right, exactly.
able to get nude with your spouse, but not everybody. You
Not
know what I'm saying?
everybody,
You're
no.
supposed to be respectful of your man and things like that, but not everybody in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's the trick that a lot of black women don't
Everybody
do.
should know where your birthmark is. I mean,
Exactly. You know what I'm
I'm saying.
saying? You know what I'm saying? But that's the trick though. And I think a lot of black women don't realize that you're getting finessed out of your spot. Because there's a lot of women swooping right on in, they're getting married,
Yeah,
married. Now I
yeah.
think of the statistic
And
out
then that
there.
wobble wobbling, dropping it like it's hot either.
And then black women are like they this is how you know you're getting tricked and you're not even thinking. They so busy trying to show that they don't need a man that other women are getting the men that they could have had. And then
Right.
when people are looking at them, they're by themselves. You know, when they talk about the zombie apocalypse, I think we think about zombies walking around. But what I really think they're trying to say is people are going to be zombies, as in they're just going to be dead walking. They're not even going to think about what they do. You know what I'm saying? They're not even going to think about what they actually do. You know what I'm saying? So,
Exactly.
and even me, years
Exactly.
ago, I had to sit myself down and say, "Fool, are you crazy?" You know, what I mean, just about certain things. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I've been working, being busy. Yeah, I'm successful. Yeah, you're successful, but you're not a dad. You're not married. That's not good. You know what I'm saying? So I bought into the system though. You know what I'm saying? So I was no better than her, honestly speaking. But I'm saying you have to watch that and say, okay, but now what I did was first thing I did, guess what I did? I went and bought a
Mhm.
Jaguar convertible. I went and bought a Mercedes Benz. I bought a $500,000 house, right? Because I was buying all this stuff because I didn't have to buy it for somebody else, but I was really designed to buy this for a wife and some children. You get what I'm saying? So God is not
Mhm.
wrong. God is always good, but the trick is that we're confused by the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, that's the
That's
whole
right.
problem.
No, that's
But
that's that's it
but the
right
key
there.
to any good pickpocket, and I was telling somebody this the other night, the key is for you to not know that you are sinning against yourself. The key is for you to think that you're doing something right. That's the scariest part about a lie, is that parts of it could be true. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lie overall. You know what I'm saying? And like when you think about the Bible, they talk about Eve being beguiled in the Garden of Eden and different situations. It's really scary when you think about that. Is when you have half truths and you don't know you have half truths. You know what I'm saying? So all
That's
those
right.
things are what should come out in a relationship when you're dating somebody, is to talk and talk and talk and talk and keep digging deeper to find out who you are at your core. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through buy all that stuff, and then I sold my convertible and I gave away my Mercedes, and I started giving away a lot of stuff because I was
You
at
gave away a Mercedes?
to a family member. Yeah,
Oh,
you know. But I mean, the whole thing is that um, whole thing is that I came to this peaceful moment and I said, okay. But the whole goal for somebody is, you know, I know I'm getting on a tangent. Please forgive me. Give me two
no,
seconds.
go on. Who would
So
you get this Mercedes to?
I gave it to my aunt. So let me tell you this. Okay, so I had dated this Jewish lady. I dated two
Hmm.
Jewish ladies years ago. And they started letting me know what the Bat Mitzvah was all about. Right. And they talked to me about how they all get together when somebody's like between 15 or 14 and 17 or whatever, and they have this event, and they all come together and they surround this young man or this young woman. I think it's usually a young man, but it could be a young woman too. And they say, "Hey, what do you want to do with your life?" They have these real talk conversations with them. The Jewish people do this, right? And they would have this kind of and all this stuff is constantly keeping this person understanding about life in the sense of timing that they're in. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what? She was like, yeah. And so when they're 15 and 16, that's why a lot of times Jewish people, they say, are so focused, right? They're like, man, it seems like Jews just have a lot of money. Well, if somebody's coaching you every day about taxes and the government and this and that, not letting you watch a lot of TV and not letting you do all these other things, and making sure you're in a position to win, then they're getting married younger, staying married for
Right.
longer, and you hardly ever hear it. And I'm not saying they don't get divorced, but I'm saying their lives are scripted better. But
Right.
sometimes in the black community, you don't never hear about the finance question. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You don't talk about that. You just talk about kicking it. We got on our clothes. We're going out. We're gonna party. Blah blah. All that is contributing to the failing relationship. And we just
Right.
gotta we can't just look at it and say, well, people ain't going out dating nobody. Right? You gotta say it's a lot of caveats that's creating this relationship dynamic. You know what I'm saying? And it's a problem because of the way we're interacting with each other. It's literally a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. So that's the reason why I say that if you're gonna have a relationship or be dating somebody, you gotta really look at it overall. You're in a system that's not designed for you to win. So why
What
would you
happened?
keep going?
Who was that last
It's
part?
not designed for you to win. You know what I'm saying? It's not designed for you
Hmm.
to do the most. You know what I'm saying? It's not designed for that. So you got to be thinking and saying, okay, since it's not, what can we do to combat that? But we
Right.
know in America, you know what I'm saying? We can't all be Dr. Umars and just, quit. You know what I'm saying? But like
Right.
you got to figure out how to play chess. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and even for the white families, for anybody, it's
Right.
like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
man,
I agree.
yeah, sometimes you got to watch it and make sure you're not giving your position away, especially as far as black
Exactly.
women. You can't just look up and say, "Man, I don't know why we all," and then you sit up there like, "We don't need nobody," and everybody, and a lot of people getting married to your men. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, but
Right.
Hispanic women, African, and they're like, "Oh yeah, girl, go ahead. You don't need him." And they walking off. You know?
Right. Right. It's true. It's true.
And I ain't hate no black women. I'm just saying it. Just I think that we
Well,
sometimes
perspectives have to change because you are vulnerable. You are
yes,
vulnerable, and you do need a husband that is not just a provider but a
yeah,
protector. You do,
and a
and you
protect.
got to be willing to listen, right? I mean, you have
Oh my
to.
God.
Your husband says, "Baby, it's 9:30. I don't want you out at night. I don't need nobody telling me what to do." You
Mhm. Yes.
know. Well, it makes sense. It's late. You don't know what could happen. Somebody stuff you in the trunk. Who you gonna call but him? So
Man,
if you got your phone, so I think
man,
that we need to respect each other enough
each other, not
that
just the man, but each other.
right. The man says, "I don't want my wife out this late." He trying to control me.
Hmm.
Look, you do need someone to control. Not to control you, but you did. You don't know what it's like to be out late at night and somebody's approaching you at your vehicle and you're terrified. Like, look, sir, back up right here.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're a little lady. You're like you're
Hmm.
size six.
Hmm.
Who you gonna fight off?
Yeah, who you gonna fight off? I don't care if you do got a knife or a gun.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
He'll make you
man.
or some mace.
Mm-mm.
He might be immune to mace. You're like, shh,
Hmm.
that's all you got, lady.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I
I
can
think
tolerate mace at 10.
if I was a woman, I would want a man to be the head of my household. And I'm going to say something that's going
Yeah,
to sound real selfish
exactly.
and very
Right.
slick. If I was a woman, I would do what the man said. And you know
Yes.
why? You know why? Because if anything goes wrong, I'm going to point to that joker and say, you said we were supposed to do such, and it
Exactly.
ain't working,
You're
sir.
coming for
But
him
you
because
can't,
he is in charge. He is
but
responsible.
but you can't do that when you keep sticking your neck out there. Some like at jobs I've been on, where we would have certain situations, and I would tell people I'm working on a piece of equipment. Once I'm touching it and I'm working on it, it's my equipment. I would
Right.
always tell the younger guys, hey, just sit back and chill. As soon
Right.
as you go up there trying to show people what you know and you break something or you move something, then it's kind of like um people are gonna be looking like, okay, well y'all messed it up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I was a woman, I would basically be like, well, you know what?
All right, Steve, we're running over time. So
Okay.
so we're gonna have to wrap it up here.
Yeah,
I want to
but
thank
the
you.
whole thing is just I think the relationships need to be it should be a more of a full circle thing when we're looking at it.
Right.
That's but yeah, thanks for having me on your show. It's big it's an honor.
No, I'm going to have you back because you have a lot to say and you say it very, very well. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have you on this show. We're just over two
And I didn't
hours.
cut. And I didn't cut.
And you did, and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
So proud of you. You did it. You got through 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
I am so proud of you. So I am very, very pleased that you came on the show and you really helped us out. You really gave a wonderful perspective. I loved hearing you talk. You're not just an engineer. You're not just a behavioral ontological architect, ontological architect, and you're not just a pretty face.
Oh my
You have
goodness.
a lot to say, and you say it very well. You're very wise, and I love your perspective on families. And you've given a perspective that the idea and the concept of teamwork. You brought it home by saying you don't want your woman out there. Let's do a business. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
There's other ways of doing this where all the money is kept inside the family nucleus,
Yes.
which I
Yes.
thought was very wise. It was very Solomon-esque in
Hmm.
your approach.
Wow. Wow.
So
Thanks.
to you, to your credit, to your training, your ability to navigate, and also your conflict resolution skills,
Oh
I thought
man.
was excellent. And so I am very, very, very proud of you. First off,
Oh
and very
man.
pleased that you brought your A game. And
Wow.
we definitely want you to come back.
Man.
So
Okay. Yeah.
please
Definitely
say
will
something to
do.
my GCPR family in closing, because I know they're now in love with you. So
Oh man, hey, thanks y'all. Really, I mean, we were kind of just full transparency. When she was like, "Hey, let's go, let's come on the show," and we practiced, and my this mic wasn't working, and we ended up getting it done, And so I try to be transparent, But I appreciate Pastor Gia because sometimes she helps me on late nights or different days, and she puts me right in my place. Like, stop saying bad words, So but yeah, I want to let y'all know, just be encouraged. Keep following Pastor Gia for sure. Seriously, she is a light. She really does care about y'all. For real. Seriously. And it's good to have somebody that cares. That's really a mother and nurturing on a lot of levels. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, we're gonna close it out. And until next time,
yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And from my heart to your home, thank you and God bless you. And if no one has told you that they love you, I do. Thank you, GCPR family. Have a great night.
ciao.
Is all about love, navigating life with you, building in happiness and sharing those dreams for two. Heart to heart things